Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Comic Monitors. This is Matt Invictus. I'm here with Darnell Henriquez and special guest Madcap Munchkin, and we're going to be talking about lots of Spider-Man. We're going to talk about this character's entire history from the 1960s to his latest adventures. We're going to cover as much as possible. So, how are you guys doing?
Pretty good, Matt. Thanks for having me on, both y'all.
No
Pretty good
problem.
myself.
What's that?
Pretty good myself, I said.
That's great. And before we start, I just want to brag a little bit. I have done more background research for this video than anything else. And
That's not really
after
saying much.
it kind of,
I don't know, man. He your sins past. I mean, I'd give him credit
Oh,
for
that
that.
was supposed to be a joke. Sorry.
Mhm. Yeah, I know it was a joke, but I just want to say, considering some of the stuff I've read, I feel like I have lost a piece of my soul. So
Trust
yeah.
me. You forget you're the one. I'm the one you always came crying into anytime you read something horrible.
Well, I didn't cry, but anyway, I feel like on one hand I have accomplished something great, but on the other hand, I feel like I have lost 50 years of my life in the process.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's like I
so
I
yeah.
could have gone to medical school, but instead I have brain cells that are now devoted to bad Spider-Man comics. Why?
Yeah, half my brain cells are now bad Spider-Man comics. So, with that
Yeah.
out of the way, let's start this episode by talking about the 1960s. And I just want to say up front, I think that the 60s Spider-Man stories are probably the most worthwhile stories of that era. They're the least dated. They've got some of the best writing, some of the best drama, decent villains. So, if you can only read one 60s superhero, one 60s comic book series, I definitely recommend the old Spider-Man stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've got it's vintage Lee and Ditko stuff. I mean, that's the very beginnings of it have some of the best stuff. I mean, you have the Lord. I keep
If this
forgetting.
be my destiny.
Yeah, that's the one. The one where he lifts the rubble off of himself trying to save Gwen Stacy and the formula. Or no,
Mm-hmm.
I'm mixing that up with the animated. Yeah, no, where he gets the formula that he has to get to save Aunt May.
Yep.
Back when it was actually a meaningful plot device and not something that just happened every other week.
Yeah, if this be my destiny, a pretty important story. It's like, yeah, it's got the iconic scene where he's like trapped under the rubble, but I believe it's also the first appearance of Gwen and Harry Osborn, and it's also the iconic first appearance of Aunt May lying helplessly in a hospital bed.
Right.
Yeah, that is an image that has just been burned into my mind this past month. I mean, Aunt May, she is a walking heart attack factory.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you have to remember again, like I said, I mean, that's when it was, it was really powerful. It was, it was Peter trying to save pretty much the only family he had left.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, that was the first time, so there
Right.
was nothing wrong with it that once. But the other 20 times, by the 20th time they did it, it was getting a bit old.
Right. It's like, oh, geez, just come on, really, die already, come on.
Hmm.
Which actually, didn't she die in the '90s at one point?
Yeah, she died like right before like right in the beginning of the Clone Saga, didn't she?
Yeah, she was quite dead in '93, I think. By the mid '90s, she was quite dead, and then they brought her back shortly afterwards. But we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, we're all familiar with the iconic origin story, which again probably this one of the strongest of the era, if not the strongest.
Right. Amazing Fantasy number 15. Classic. Absolute
Hmm.
classic.
Yeah, and also
The
something I want to, well, what yeah, you can
No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay, and
Oh,
also something I want to point out about 60 Spider-Man is that Flash Thompson was originally meant to be a ginger. Like his first appearances, like even up until the 90s, like they still like drew him as a redhead, but at some point in the 2000s, they decided to switch him over to blonde, and that kind of stuck, which is
so
confusing to me. So
comics have been killing off genders genders, lovely gingers less. Oh,
yeah,
sheesh.
but yeah,
Although I did think of something right before this. You know, as bad as just going forward, as bad as these comics can get, at least you don't have fake Wally in them.
Oh,
That's a
my
whole,
mortal enemy.
yeah. See,
Oh
I
yeah.
figured.
Oh, and aside from this being My Destiny, I think my other favorite story from that era is the first annual. It was the first appearance of the Sinister Six. I thought that was a pretty entertaining issue. It was mostly action, but very well done, like pretty solid Silver Age stuff.
Yeah.
So I really like those original Spider-Man villains. I think most of them hold up pretty well, except for the Chameleon.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like with Batman that Spidey has had just villains that translate so well going on, with again the exception of Chameleon. But I mean, you see Doc Ock in rotation, you see the Rhino occasionally. All these villains, you'd be like thinking in concept, you'd go, no, there's no way these would stick, but they do. They're so well done and well presented in their first appearances that they keep going. I think that's amazing, really, because especially a lot of the Sinister Six, like wait, was Shocker in the original? Because I was about
I
to.
don't think so.
He
What do you
was
mean by the original?
the
original
original
Sinister Six.
Sinister Six, the six villains that
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
he wasn't. Okay, see,
I
that's
think the
one
originals.
stuck.
Yeah, I think the originals were Doc Ock, Craven, Electro, Vulture, Sandman, and Mysterio. I think that was it.
Right. Which is kind of a shame we don't see more of Mysterio lately. I mean, I know he's been around. He's been in
Technically, he's supposed to. Technically, he's been. He was imprisoned in the Ultimates universe.
well, the last I read, he was in Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider. He was retired somewhere in the Las Vegas area. So I'm not sure what happened between them, but like Ben had a run in on him because of something mystical that had happened.
Wasn't he dead once?
Yes, he committed suicide in Daredevil Guardian Double.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
remember that
I think you
one.
showed that to me. Yeah, yeah, and then they showed like his like blood splatter all over his fishbowl.
Yeah, still don't get the fishbowl, but what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Weird outfit, but sorry, I'm derailing him. Well,
Yeah, and also the '60s also produced a series of images that would go on to be very popular internet memes. And I've been told that these images originated in an animated series. Did you either of you know about the '60s Spider-Man cartoon?
Yes.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, like have you seen a single episode of it, or do you just know it from the memes?
No, I've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it too. It is really weird because, especially the way Spider-Man is dressed, because you know how Spider-Man is dressed in the comics. In the cartoon, is weird because he's dressed with like a bow tie and a suit.
Yeah, it's weird.
Mm-hmm. And they only
It's
had time to like put webbing on his mask because of the animation budget.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I mean that's the thing you got to remember with animation. I mean they can't do the same thing with the comics.
Mm-hmm.
They have so much budget they can work with, and detailed character models are just not in that budget for the '60s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
unless
hey,
you're
on the
Barbera, but that's a whole other can of worms.
but yeah, on the positive side, that cartoon will live on forever thanks to 4chan.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So but yeah, if we're done talking about the '60s again, I think there's some of the strongest comics of that era because like if you go back and read some like those other old Marvel comics, like the original X-Men stories were not very good at all.
No.
I'd recommend passing on those. But again, the old Spidey stuff, pretty damn good, holds up very well. So I think that the '60s were a big success for the character. So
Right. Very strong start. Very strong start.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, moving on to the next decade. You guys have any '70s Spider-Man tales that you think are exceptional, worth talking about? With the
What about
exception of the obvious one, which we'll be getting to in a minute.
I was saying, what about the Spider-Man graphic novels I sent to you,
Which ones?
like Hooky and
Well, those were much later. That was like the '80s.
Oh, that was '80s. All right.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's always the Six Arms saga. I mean, you see that. I remember the '90s did an adaptation of it, and it's always been a big fixture in my mind of Spider-Man in general. Him, the you have things like the well, I mean, of course, the image of him with the 6 arms, but you have like the first show appearance of Morbius was a thing, right when the Comics Code was allowing vampires again. Or wait,
Yeah,
yeah,
that. Yeah, sorry, but no, well, Sammy, because remember he wasn't a real vampire since he
right.
didn't drain blood; he drained plasma through his pumps.
He was the living vampire. Ooh, yeah, yeah, that's it. But yeah,
Yeah,
and
that cracked
and then you have Connors being a bigger fixture in his supporting cast, helping him whip up the antidote to the 6 arms. I don't know. It's always been one that I've enjoyed. I used to have the physical copies of it, but I cannot for the life of me remember where they are now.
Yeah, the thing a lot of people have forgotten is like Connors actually he was a fairly prominent supporting character in like the Silver Age or early Bronze Age. He showed up a lot to help Spidey out, and then later on he could just kind of devolve into a fairly one-note villain. He's just a guy who turns into a big lizard creature sometimes.
I wouldn't say necessarily he's one note because you still have that whole relationship between Peter trying to help him and Connors doing the whole. It's kind of like Man Bat with Batman, only with Connors it actually is more emotional.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the I forget if it was in the main series or if it was its own graphic novel, but like the bit where he finally gave in.
You there? Can either of you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I forget.
Oh. Okay,
I think you cut out for a minute.
Yeah, you did.
Which one?
I'm just saying you cut out for a second.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, this microphone's a little bit on the fritz.
Huh.
But I don't know. Connors, I honestly wish we could see more of him now. What with the sliding time scale at Marvel, I don't know. It feels like and especially I know the '90s series emphasized his importance a lot, but he was very good as a scientific contact. When Spidey found himself out of his depth to go to, someone who wasn't Reed Richards.
Yeah. Like historically, he was just kind of like the science guy. Spidey would team up with when he had a science related problem. But then the 2000s came along, and who was it who decided to have Connors eat his family?
Dan Slott.
Of course. Did I even have to ask?
It's almost like Dan Slott hates Spider-Man or something. What?
Yeah. And then the last time I've seen Connors, like he had brought his family was brought back to life again. That's something we'll talk about later on. But then he ended up turning his family into lizard people. So now they're like a whole family of lizard people.
As you do.
Yeah.
Sure. Hey, at least he doesn't have to worry about killing them again.
But yeah, so
yes.
So yeah, I think it's about time for us to discuss the iconic night Gwen Stacy died. So talking about Gwen, there's always been for a while there's been like kind of a debate within the Spidey fandom about who is Peter's true love. Is it Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane? But there's no reason for there to be a debate because it's obviously Mary Jane.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
Yeah, it is fair.
I mean, and I do love the people who will bring up the whole, Gwen Stacy was his first love. It's like, do y'all not remember Betty Brant?
Yeah.
Like she was there. That was a thing.
Yeah. And then the thing is like, all right, Gwen did chronologically appear before MJ did. But the thing is like, Peter and MJ, they were kind of hitting it off before he was officially dating Gwen. Like they didn't get into an official relationship, but it was like clear from the get-go that Peter and MJ got along better. So,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, the iconic image of her first appearance. I mean, there's, come on. You just hit the jackpot.
MJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in like Lee and Ditko, like hiding her appearance, or not, wasn't Ditko by that point. I forget who it was.
Yeah.
Was it not? Whoever was running the book at the time, like hiding MJ's face in the first few appearances. I mean, it was very cleverly done.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Ditko.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, like, I mean, I respect Gwen Stacy. I don't hate her or have anything against her. I think she is definitely an important part of Peter's history. But in terms of who's Peter's true love, I don't really think there's much competition. It's like let's put it this way: like Mary Jane, she figured out who that Peter was Spider-Man all by herself on
Right.
the night Uncle Ben died of all times. Gwen died before she found out at all. So I mean, and I mean, she's like just she's a more interesting character overall, stronger backstory. I think she has better chemistry with Peter. So again, I'm not trying to shit on Gwen. I think she's
No.
important, but I mean,
Absolutely.
but I mean, MJ, she's the best. I've come to really like her a lot during my reading. So
Right. Yeah, no, I mean Gwen basically in my mind is, Peter recommitting to his mission. It's the same thing with, Uncle Ben's death. It's what inspires him to, the this will never happen again sort of thing. That kind of, puts Peter in a, constant spiral of, failure and blaming himself when he can't deal with the problem. But I mean, you can understand it from that angle. I mean, that's what Gwen's death means to him. I mean, and it does say something that still is, something, the guilt from that is something that he carries with him even now.
Yes.
Because and granted, I haven't read it all, but like the bits I've read of the clone conspiracy, it's like, yeah, that still hangs over him, which I think is good.
But, and then you have House of M, where he just goes ballistic for that very reason.
Yeah, and another comments about the night Gwen Stacy died. I've said before that the image of Aunt May lying in a hospital bed is burned into my mind. Another image that I've become very familiar with is the image of a girl falling off a bridge and Spider-Man having to save her. That has been replicated so many fucking times.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, like the Spider-Man writers, it's like they all have this weird fetish for hospital beds and girls falling off bridges.
Yeah. It's just like, it's like good. And the worst part is, again, it's like with the image of May in the hospital bed and, If This Be My Destiny. It's like that image was so powerful the first time it was done. The image of Gwen Stacy falling off the bridge is so powerful when it was first done. When you do it for the 27th time afterwards, yeah, no, not so much.
Yeah, I mean,
you could almost say they tried cloning it a bunch of times.
Yeah, that sounds like a segue.
Well, that
sounds like a segue.
That is another 70s one there. I mean, that's when the original Clone Saga happened. I mean,
yeah, the original Clone Saga. So,
Ben Reilly,
go ahead.
Not yet Ben Reilly.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk about the original Clone Saga now, or like save it for later so we can discuss the whole thing at once?
Discuss the whole thing at once.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
okay. So
the 70s one doesn't really have anything to go over, but like the one or two, I think it's only like one or two issues, which, the 90s one could have taken a page from that.
Yes. And I admittedly haven't actually read that many 70s Spider-Man tales, but another thing of note that happened in this decade was the first appearance of everyone's favorite Catwoman clone, Felicia Hardy.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was the 70s, wasn't it?
Yep.
Huh. The other one who gets thrown into the running for the love of Peter Parker's life.
Yeah.
Who then Dan Slott turned into a masterminding criminal sociopath.
Yeah.
That got weird.
But yeah, I think I could be wrong, but I think that the reason they turned Black Cat into like a kind of a crime boss was because around the same time they were doing that with Catwoman too, and because like Catwoman and Felicia Hardy just.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't say that Felicia's not a rip-off, because, I mean, as much as I do like her character, yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, I don't hate her. I think she lends herself to decent writing sometimes. I'm not ballistically angry at her, but yeah,
Yeah,
you
she's
can kind of you can kind of see the thought process that was going on when she was created.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, do you guys know if that the famous Juggernaut issue was the 70s or the 80s?
Nothing
on.
can stop the Juggernaut. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, I
Hold
thought
on.
that was a good
Let
one.
me, let me look it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think it's early 80s, actually.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then. So yeah, the 80s were like when things like really kicked into gear. There's a lot to talk about this decade. So
Oh, yeah. Oh, the 80s. I mean, you have
Yeah, 1982.
1982.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Spidey having to take on, Juggernaut. I mean, the dude who, is able to walk through pretty much the entire X-Men. I mean, that's pretty cool. Although when
Yeah.
you get to Secret Wars, that's even funnier, but that later part of the 80s.
Yeah, and then yeah, a lot of stuff happened. We had
It's 84, isn't it?
Yeah, Secret Wars. Was it 84 or 85?
80. I think it's 83 because the black suit was 84.
I gotta look it up now.
Well, he got the black suit during the
Secret Wars, but I mean like the Homecoming, like Spider-Man.
It's 84.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Okay.
the actually looking it up just reminded me the kid who collects Spider-Man. That one's a tearjerker.
Yeah, the one they also copy multiple times.
Right.
Yeah, the funny thing about that one it was actually a backup story. I think the majority of the issue was him fighting one of the Wrecking Crew. I think it was like Thunderball. Yeah. They're all the same. The Wrecking Crew are all the same. So he's fighting one of them, and then they had a backup story, which ended
Hey, that is not true. There is at least one black guy in the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, sure. The Wrecking Crew.
Yeah. Nobody's favorite supervillains.
No. The best thing about the Wrecking Crew is that they are so low tier. You can have any hero fight any hero that's worth their salt fight them, but yet they're so high enough that it's like, oh, you actually graduated superhero kindergarten. Tell me that's not true. Tell me that is not their purpose.
Yeah, no, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically the kitty level supervillain fight. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Wasn't Absorbing Man one of them for a while?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, he was.
Was
Yeah,
he?
I was about to say that almost gives them some vague credibility, except not really.
Yeah, and then when he's talking Black Bolt, he's just like, oh yeah, I was also a member of the Wrecking Crew, so not even he respects them.
Oh yeah, Black Bolt's gonna care about that. Yeah, that makes sense. Black Bolt don't care.
Yeah. Black Bolt don't say nothing because Black Bolt don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But
literally.
But yeah, we all know Spidey's like rolling Secret Wars. He got the alien costume.
Yeah.
And this is where I come in. Peter Parker is the worst fucking boyfriend with that fucking thing.
This is true.
Yeah, he rejected it. It just wanted to be with him, and he turned it away.
It just wanted to be loved. That's why, it hijacked his body while he was sleeping and fed off his adrenaline. Oh, shit.
Okay, to be perfectly honest, out of all the horrible things that, Tony with his Iron Man suit, when it fell in love with him.
Let's not even get into Tony Stark, because good lord, come on.
No, but I'm just saying, you compare that with Tony's suit. You compare that with like almost every other thing when something goes rogue. Oh, what's Peter's thing? Oh, the suit really loves the fact that he's a hero. So when he's asleep, it goes out at night and it's even a hero. And it's not even like it kills people. No, it's just like, oh, criminal. I know what he would do. Done.
Time to hijack his body. Whee! What?
That is the almost perfect deal for me. It's like, oh, okay. Just make sure I don't wake up.
Yeah, but think about it. He was exhausted after every one of the trips it took while he was sleeping. So I mean, it's like he was basically running on empty. I mean, it was about a hair's breadth from driving him nuts on just sleep exhaustion. So you
It's like that. It's like when you got that girlfriend who was like, nice girl, nice family, fun to hang out with, but she's just constantly on your tail, just constantly wants to do shit, never have a second of free time. You just gotta cut all ties.
All right, baby. This is what we'll
kind of
do.
like a
On the
reverse Joker
weekends.
Harley Quinn relationship. Come to think of it.
So pretty much
yeah.
like in White Knight and the Telltale games.
But yeah, it is funny. Like when you get down to it, the symbiote really is just like a jealous ex.
More or less. I mean,
Yeah, it's just a jealous ex, like conspiring to get revenge on you over rejection.
right.
It even teams up with someone to teams up with your worst enemy to get revenge on you.
Well, I mean but that's also what made Venom such, a really good villain. And I'm gonna go ahead and get this out here. Have either of y'all read Venom Space Knight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I absolutely loved the character development that Flash Thompson went through from I think it was the early 2000s on. And I actually was one of those people that loved Venom Space Knight, and I absolutely hated when they brought it back to Earth and put it on.
And then they put it on Lee Price.
Yeah,
it's fucking darkness. They just ripped off the darkness. That's the most beautiful thing. They ripped off the darkness with the only thing is that the symbiote started saying, "Wait, but you're not a hero."
We did. Holy, how did I miss that?
That was the first time I saw Lee. I was like, "That looks like Jackie Staccato."
And yeah. I don't know how the hell I missed that. Wow. Shit.
But yeah, I did read a little bit of Agent Venom, and I agree. I really like what they did with Flash throughout the 2000s. I do wish that they stuck with Flash as some sort of Venom, whether he's Agent Venom or
he is supposed to. Well, he is kind of anti-Venom now.
Oh, anti-Venom. Yeah. Oh,
which is just
no one likes anti-Venom. Anti-Venom sucks.
Hey, he might redeem the character now.
No,
I don't know. It's the character going to be named something other than Anti-Venom?
Agent Anti-Venom. I'm pretty sure he'll fucking change it.
Yeah, I hope so. Dear God. But the point I'm driving at is okay, I loved Venom Space Knight because it was the development of the character, and you also saw the symbiote doing the same thing. It changed and it was altered, and they retconned the backstory of the symbiotes a bunch. Oh, hello.
No, but I'm just this is the with the jealous girlfriend. This is from Texas Superheroes. And can anybody read this? And yeah, this is exactly what we were talking about. We just want to take everything from you and squeeze you in our powerful arms.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm never going to be able to look at the old Eddie Brock Venom stories the same way now.
Yep.
Yeah. If nothing else, we've achieved that tonight. So thank you. I need brain bleach. But Venom, when it first started and was with Eddie Brock, I mean, it was the perfect combination. You had, villain who was not only stronger than Spidey, but knew everything about him and knew just exactly where to needle him. And it was just and I forget because I always end up mixing it up with the 90s series, but he didn't know Eddie Brock before in the comics, right? Because I don't
mean Peter.
Wait, what?
I'm trying to remember if Peter at all knew Eddie Brock in the comics before Venom.
Yeah, because Eddie Brock was a competing journal. Competing from photographer, and then during the Sin Eater arc, that was when that's when Brock's entire career went down.
That's right. I remember that. Okay, yeah, but it's again just that he knows everything about him. He's stronger than him, and it's like the same thing with the Green Goblin. You have to have, especially considering Spidey's more of a physical hero, having someone who is more imposing than he is, plus having that psychological edge. I mean, that makes Venom, in my mind, almost better than Norman Osborn in terms of villainy for Spidey, anyway. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to go for arch nemesis, Venom in the original form, Rip Roaring Pissed, that's the definitive Spidey villain in my mind.
Yeah, I like Venom more than Osborn.
Yeah, but I do I feel like there is a point because again, like as we all can kind of tell, Venom is only a villain. Well, Eddie Brock Venom is only a villain to Peter. Like with everyone else, he's either kind of mutual or down to the point he'll actually work with, which I kind of find very comedic.
Right.
And then you have Matt Garkin, who just went, "Oh, let me just eat people."
Yeah,
Yeah, Hulk Venom.
Matt got weird, didn't he?
No,
Yep.
my favorite. The referencing that what Matt just said. I showed him a picture from 9gag where people thought that Matt Garkin as Venom was the Hulk as Venom.
Oh Jesus! Is that the one? Is that the one they send around? That's the Ghost Rider Venom thing. Is that him? That's not that one. Or is
No,
that
Ghost Rider Venom. That was Thunderbolt Ross with the Venom symbiote.
It's like, yeah, no, Ghost Rider Venom Hulk. It's like, please God, no. It's like, what?
That was during the Gathering of the Five.
Yeah. Isn't that the one where Norman Osborn got the power of super insanity?
Yep, it was.
Oh,
Which
geez.
one? The Gathering of the Five, or which one?
Yeah, it was Gathering of 5.
Oh,
It's like, ooh, I have the power of insanity now. You already had that, Norman.
no. Wait. I was referencing him wrong when I meant the Gathering of the Five. Because I was referencing the Spider-Man when I was referencing the Agent Venom story. That's the one where it's the Red Hulk with the symbiote.
Okay, this is important. This is an important question, guys. If the Venom symbiote is the Jealous X, if is Peter's Jealous X, what does that make Carnage?
The baby that
Bastard
the Jealous
offspring? I don't know.
No, the baby that the Jealous X had during a one night stand.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
It kind of is. Kind of is. It's like if the Jealous X teamed up with the worst enemy, get revenge, and then they had a baby. It's just as big a mistake as it sounds like.
Yeah.
And the baby turns out to be a mistake. Yeah, and I just want to go out and say Carnage is my personal favorite Spidey villain, and the reason for this is okay. I like Venom as much as the next guy, but when you get down to it, he's fairly ethical for a supervillain. He only really wants to kill Spider-Man and other villains, but Carnage is what happens when the worst possible person gets a shitload of power. He's just so creepy because on one hand he's just this like horrifyingly fucked up serial killer, and they just happen to stumble across ultra powerful alien symbiote. So I think out of all Spider-Man's villains, he's probably the most threatening. I mean, I'm not saying he's the most fleshed out of them, but in terms of having a cool villain factor, he's my favorite.
He was more fleshed out in the mid 2000s.
Cursed image. No, but
come on, it's Ghost Rider Hulk symbiote Venom.
My brain hurts on so many. That is so OP. It actually causes me physical pain to look at it.
It looks like something Liefeld would have drawn in the 90s.
Hey, come on. Be nice, man. Feet killed his family. I'm just saying. It was the only way he could get back after the case was thrown out.
Yeah. He swore on that day to destroy all the feet in the world.
All the feet. And all the spines, too. But that was for a very unrelated reason. One of them stole his parking space.
Muscles are still his friend, though.
And shoulder pads.
No, have you seen? No, I'm sorry, but have you seen Liefeld's like his latest drawing? He's like, I introduced to you Pouch Man.
Yeah, see, the memes are becoming sentient now.
I need to look that up. You guys keep talking.
Yeah, no, he was on. I saw that on Twitter. I'm like, oh, come on, Rob, really, dude.
But yeah, what were we talking about?
We were talking about Carnage.
Yeah.
Carnage. Yeah, no, Carnage. I like Carnage, and like you said, he's not very fleshed out. He's very simplistic, but
at the same time, it kind of works.
He's simplistic yet refined. I think that's the really, that's the thing, because when it's down to the point that it's like, okay, you're doing one thing, but you're doing that one thing so well,
right?
Every time you dig into the hole, like let's say for instance, Carnage USA or Maximum Carnage. Yeah, Maximum Carnage or Minimum Carnage, or the time when Axis happened and he became a hero, it works.
Yeah. Which that one I enjoyed for the tie-ins to Nova, but that's
Yeah, and
That's
Carnage,
way later.
He does have a pretty solid track record with stories. Like Maximum Carnage, it was a bit drawn out. Probably could have been half as many issues and still gotten the points across. But it was a decent read. And then in like the late 2000s, no, the early 2010s, you had what was it called? Family Ties. It was kind of a semi sequel to Maximum Carnage, and then Carnage USA, which was solid, and then Axis and all that. So it's like he does. He's probably had the least bad stories out of all Spider-Man's villains. That's not to say he has had the most good ones, but he's had the least bad ones. I can't really think of anything he's been in where he flat out sucked.
I don't know. I mean, granted, it's getting the 90s, but like, I don't know. His bit in the trial of Peter Parker was odd.
Well, from what I can recall, like was when he just in like one fight scene. They just kind of
no. That's the one where they rip off the episode of Batman where like all the inmates in Arkham put him on trial, and it's like
he
came out like a month.
Now I remember he was the judge. That was
no. Judas Traveler was the judge. He was the prosecution.
Oh, that's right. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's like, and you're just like, okay, why is Carnage going along with this? He's basically the spirit of anarchy. Yeah, he should be like, no, not doing this, and then like hitting all the people in the head with his, you know.
I introduced the pouch.
Oh dear God.
Oh, come on. At least Rob is, you know, I have a lot more respect for Rob now that he's, you know, he's able to take the piss out of himself.
He's self-aware.
Yeah. Demands are becoming sentient.
I was gonna say, when an AI is sentient, that is never fun.
I mean, it's like the equivalent of like, you know, Bethesda doing the horsepower armor DLC for Fallout 4. I mean, they finally have become aware. It's really funny.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, rounding out the 80s stuff, we also had one of the best wedding issues in comic book history, which
of course,
which is a bit hard to read knowing how that marriage turned out. But
just think about it. Somewhere in 1987, a young Dan Slott read that and immediately started screaming, "No!" And like 30 years later, showed up and ruined it all.
No, that was Joe Quesada. A young Joe Quesada was thinking that.
Because they're both terrible.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, Joe Quesada, that. And the worst part is, it's like, One More Day was like the proof that he just did not get Spider-Man at all. Oh, what in the actual hell? Sorry. That he did not get Spider-Man like at all. And just... And somehow this guy was chosen to be the chief creative officer for Marvel?
Yeah, I think so.
It's like the guy didn't. That would be like putting Nick Spencer in that role.
Yeah, that would be like
the guy who least gets the character, your flagship character, and it's like, why?
Yeah, that's like if you made Dan Didio the co-publisher of DC. Oh wait, it's almost comics are not good.
Yeah,
they're frustrating.
They are not in a good state. Bless their hearts.
Mm-hmm. But shortly after the wedding issue, we got a story that a lot of people think is one of the best Spidey stories of all time. You know which one I'm talking about?
Kraven's Last Hunt.
Yep.
Talk about the spiders, Matt. Talk about the spiders.
Yeah, in this story, Kraven eats a lot of spiders. It has a lot of spider eating. Has a lot of It has a naked Peter Parker crawling out of a spider cocoon in a dream. So it's kind of a weird one.
So that's the common. I mean, you look at the other. That's pretty much been common in Spider-Man stories for now.
Oh yeah, that is true, isn't it? That symbolism.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Joe Quesada decided, hey, let's make that literal, and did the other. It's like, out of all the characters that needed a mystical edge, Spidey was not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah, Magic and Spider-Man do not go well together.
Which is ironic when you think about Doctor Strange being one of his supporting cast in the early
Yeah.
2000s.
I mean, Doctor Strange kind of works because at least when Spidey teams up with Strange, he's just like, yeah, I don't really get this magic stuff. Magic is not my thing. I need you to help me, man. So at least they were kind of aware.
Well, and the worst part about it was I had read. I don't remember the place I had read it, but it was a thing. Someone had said that like JMS was going to write like an actual Doctor Strange book after like I think 1996, and he couldn't get that done, so he put him in Spidey's supporting cast, and it's like, come on, dude, he's Doctor Strange. This guy literally makes the universe roll over and play dead. You're really doing this? Come on.
Yeah.
Ronan had it. Wait, what was that?
Wait, what?
Ronan had, oh.
What did that say?
Which
Never
one?
mind. Never mind.
The last
I
part,
beat up my
Tony.
girlfriend's dad last week. It's
Tony,
like,
stop inviting this kid places.
That is one thing I'm looking forward to seeing in Infinity War, what they're going to do with him.
Yeah.
You know, Spidey just kind of feels like the odd man out.
Mm. But yeah,
I
I
think
think
he's probably is more qualified to be there than Tony, but whatever.
But yeah, I think Craven
And
was a
also the other weird thing between him and Tony in the MCU.
Yeah.
Are you gonna tell people I'm in your ward? What kind of sick idiot billionaire would tell people that his crime-fighting child is also his ward? Do you know what people assume our relationship actually is? Illegal sex stuff? You are right. They're gonna assume it's illegal sex stuff.
You're damn right. Oh, wow. That's just...
Yeah, you're damn right. They'll assume it's illegal sex stuff.
Damn it, Tony. Yeah.
but yeah.
Though I don't know. With his behavior in the MCU, I honestly would think that would be the least of problems people would have with him.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, I'm serious.
People go to Spectrum Superheroes and look up the Spider-Man Tony Stark stuff. They make it to the point that Tony's weirdly obsessed with Peter.
Yeah, it's really creepy. Fan fiction is fucked up, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fan fiction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I'm sorry, I'm one of those people to go on a tangent here, but like in the MCU, how is Tony Stark not in like some maximum security prison cell forever, if not having been executed? Because I mean,
he's working with the government.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. After Sokovia, Ultron tried to drop that whole city on the world. It's like, oh, Stark made that. Mr. Stark, we're gonna need you to come downtown, please.
He built a machine that influences people's minds just enough that they don't throw him away. He built a machine that turns all the seething hatred towards him into mild annoyance.
And that machine was called the iPhone 7.
Yes, that's a good one.
But yeah,
sorry,
kind
weird.
But yeah, kind of getting back into the comic side of things. I don't know if you read Spider-Man Parallel Lives graphic novel.
I have not.
Yeah, it's basically just fleshing out Peter and MJ's relationship, and I think that it just really kind of explains why they're perfect for each other, and why Mary Jane will always be Peter's one true love, and why they're just wasting time hooking up with anyone else. So yeah, I thought that was a decent read, and then around the time the Venom stuff happened, we already talked about that.
Right.
So I mean, any other 80s stuff you want to talk about?
Well, there's actually I was gonna say the death of Jean DeWolf, Gene DeWolf, but I haven't never actually read that.
I mean, the thing with John Wolfe, it's like it's good, but there's nothing really special about it if you avoid the fact that it's like kind of connected to Eddie Brock becoming Venom. It's really just a decent arc. But that's about it.
Well, personally, I think the one thing I do like is the fact that it's so like it's kind of, as you said, it's so much of a decent arc that kind of just shows that it's like, no, she wasn't killed by some villains. giant evil maniacal scheme. It wasn't a revenge plot. It was just some crazy guy that killed her because of his insanity. It kind of just shows that's like how, like it kind of tried to do the whole senseless violence thing, and personally for me, kind of really well, because it's kind of like, why? Like for Peter, it's kind of like a whole why situation. Like I lost one of my good friends, and it wasn't even something villain related. It was just this.
Right. Just random crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good image to me. It's like, Batman before we found out anything about Joe Chill. I mean, crime just kind of being anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that was the thing that, what was it? Steve Ditko had to push quite a bit with the Green Goblin before Stan Lee told him to, had the whole setup of him being Norman Osborn was that he was just some dude. Which, I don't know, I kind of see what he was driving at with that, because that, again, that's going back to, like, the death of Uncle Ben, the death of Gwen Stacy, kind of a call to Peter to action. It can come from anywhere.
It's kind of like Ray's parents. They're just a couple of people who existed.
Don't.
It is. It is.
Come on.
You are nothing.
Wasted 10 years of my life waiting for those movies. They sucker you in, and then the second one, they're just like, you waited for 2 years for nothing, dumbass.
Don't worry, I'm pretty sure Solo will be great.
Ron Howard.
I don't know.
When has Ron Howard ever done anything bad?
Have you seen? Well, no, that wasn't him as a director. Never mind.
No.
I was gonna say, have you watched most of Happy Days? Because I just put it. There's a reason why the Fonz was the breakout character there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
The Happy Days.
Yeah. Sadly, the further we get away from the 60s, Spider-Man's happy days are coming slowly to an end.
Yep. And oh boy, I'm looking at my notes. We already kind of touched on Maximum Carnage. So with that out of the way, it's time to talk about the clones. Guys, the clones.
But before we run off to the clone saga, I just wanted to touch on one thing for Maximum Carnage. That it's something I really wish they would do in the films, because I would love to see this translated well. But like, y'all have read, you've read Maximum Carnage, right? Both of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The bit where Cap first shows up, and lends Spidey the hand to get up. It just I don't know. It's Cap to me is and he's this to a lot of people, but very much the Superman equivalent. Spirit of hope. Da 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 da.
Yep.
I just, that image of him, helping Spidey up, and them going back in to kick ass is just really
well.
awesome.
I mean, they kind of did do that in the Death of Spider-Man in the Ultimates, where Captain America is holding Peter, is carrying Peter, and he's saying, "Kid, when you grow up, you're gonna be one of the great ones."
Yeah, how'd that go for Peter again?
He died, and a black boy replaced him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and then the Ultimate Universe got destroyed, so there's no hope.
Don't worry, it's back now. It's completely back now. That was Bendis' last dying wish.
Wait, they brought back the Ultimate Universe?
Yes, they brought back the Ultimate Universe.
Like, where is it? Like, where is the Ultimate Universe being written, or what are they doing with it?
I don't know. I'm guessing it's probably somewhere so that like some writer can put it back, so it's not Miles competing with Peter anymore.
So they brought it back just to make Bendis happy, but they don't even know what to do with it.
And then
Bendis brought it back to make Bendis happy. And then the other really stupid thing about that, because it kind of makes sense if they brought it back, because it'd be they could just say the Fantastic Four, that was one of the first universes they brought back. But the other really stupid things, Riri Williams now fucking exists in the Ultimate Universe.
Let's not go into Riri, because that's
okay. But
that's just sorry, that right there is some trouble waiting to happen.
Okay. To take your mind off it, let's talk about something
like the early 2000s of Spider-Man. Let's find a happy place.
Yeah, let's talk about something very pleasant. Let's talk about the Clone Saga.
Okay. So first part of the Clone Saga, since similar to how I did my rant with the symbiote, Spider-Man punching MJ.
Oh, gee. Well, that was the tail end of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of the middle. That was the middle.
Oh, yeah, because it went on for like ever.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
year.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, like so it's funny that the Clone Saga turned into what it did, because originally it was a fairly pretty self-contained. It started, it's like, with like just one story in the 70s, like, I don't know,
Right.
775 ish, and it was, I don't really have any big problems with the original Clone Saga. I think it was decent.
Oh no,
It was
it was
like,
good.
It made
yeah,
it made sense. It's like, okay, Jackal creates the original clone. Peter defeats it. Clone dies. There we go.
Well, and that was the part of it that makes the 90s one unbelievable to me. It's like, okay, so in the 70s, Miles Warren was just some dude. He was really obsessed with Gwen Stacy, went nuts, got like a weird, not lizard costume, but like a,
like
I don't know, what
gremlin
would you call his
costume.
70s costume?
uh, Furry gremlin thing, goblin.
Yeah, for like furry gremlin
Fuzzy
costume,
Goblin.
and somehow got enough genetic material from Spider-Man to make a clone. Okay, he was some crazy dude who could science real good. And then in the 90s, it's like, oh, I want to replace everyone with clones and take over the world.
Yeah, and
How?
basically the original Clone Saga, it's just like, at the end, most of the loose threads were tied up. I mean, like the Gwen Stacy clone was technically still around, but she just kind of wandered off. Could have been ignored, but yeah.
Right. The whole retcon with I think it was the High Evolutionary, wasn't it? It was like a whole, no,
God.
she's just a woman who's genetically altered to look like Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, no,
And
no, no,
it's like, huh?
yeah, no, no, yeah, yeah, like, yeah. The first addition to the Clone Saga, you met with the High
Right.
Evolutionary, and he's like, "Oh, that there actually were no clones in the original Clone Saga. They were just a couple of people that were like genetically altered to look like Gwen and Spider-Man. But then it
Right.
turns out that the High Evolutionary lied to Spider-Man, and they were clones all along.
Yeah, but it's
So
like,
the original Clone
okay,
Saga.
why did the High Evolutionary lie? Why would he care?
How did Norman Osborn orchestrate the whole thing from the start?
Because he's fucking crazy, and it was the worst retcon ever. Besides the other one that we're going to get to in a bit.
Yeah.
And then the one after that.
And the one after that. Oh, but yeah, and then okay, so you got the original, and then the stuff with the High Evolutionary, and then the 90s Clone Saga kicks off. So like the first
clinging to life for the 409th time.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, like the 90s Clone Saga, like the early stories in it, I guess the early issues weren't that bad. I mean, except for the ones with Judas Traveler. I mean, Judas Traveler is basically one of the worst Spider-Man characters ever, because he has zero reason to exist at all. I mean, Miles Warren was horrible, but at least you can kind of understand why he exists. Judas Traveler, and the thing is, like, even the writers, like, have said, oh yeah, we had no idea who this guy was or what to do with him.
Right.
Like not even the people writing the story knew why he
We
was.
don't know how to put the Phantom Stranger in here without making it seem obvious.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
have they done anything with Judas Traveler since it just kind of wandered off?
Nope.
No.
Well, it's like, one, you look at him in concept, it's like, okay, he's a mystical, powered, all-knowing, whatever being. That's not a Spidey villain. That's a Doctor Strange villain. That's an Avengers villain. That's a I don't know,
anyone else villain.
Silver Surfer villain. You don't again, Pete. The reason, and like going back to what we said before about Peter's villains, I think also a good reason that a lot of them have maintained, stuck around, is are science based. Science being, put science in air quotes, but science based.
And the ones that are more mystic based are like reasonable mystic based, that they would be going after Peter, like Raven the Hunter.
Right. But Judas Traveler doesn't fit that at all. It's like, oh, he's a psychiatrist. that's a science, but he doesn't apply it, and he asks really, really stupid questions that waste all of our time. What I don't know. He's and especially them not. And again, I guess part of that has to do with like editorial mandate, but like just going on and on with it and dragging him out when they really could have just, pushed him out of the way and just moved on. I mean, that's the reason why I like the real Clone Saga so much better. It just takes out all the crap.
But it's the 90s. Everything has to be dragged out.
Well,
Matt.
yeah, but I mean, it's like the difference between that and Age of Apocalypse. Age of Apocalypse, they had a clear plan for it, and they rolled with it, and it just happened to be so exceptionally popular that, you still have, tie-ins and all sorts of stuff like that today. I mean, I remember one of the Exile series, I forget which one, but they did like the whole tribute thing to...
Oh no, they still did Age of Apocalypse when it was during the X-Force saga. They did more Age of Apocalypse story.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
In the X-Force saga, when it was with the Dark Angel saga, they decided to pull out more Age of Apocalypse story. So you have things like Reverend Stryker in the Age of Apocalypse world is actually not called. It's a superhero called Crusader, whose mission is to bring peace between the mutants and the humans.
Yeah, good luck with that. Xavier's been trying that going on 50 years now.
I just realized that someday I have to read the whole Age of Apocalypse.
Oh yes, you're gonna have.
Oh,
to.
you poor bastard!
Jesus Christ.
Let's see. When we do the X-Men stream,
trying to appeal to Jesus won't help you. You're in the grasp of Marvel now.
Mm-hmm.
There is no help.
But getting back to the clone
but
stuff.
also Munchkin. Look what I'm showing. This
Is that? Oh no!
This will make you laugh too, Matt, especially the end.
Spider-Man, I require your assistance. Please,
Jesus!
Mysterio, having a tough enough time distinguishing, you'll be fine. Okay,
what's going on?
Your Aunt May's mouth is a portal to the mirror world. Climb in.
I'm not even touching that one.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap! No.
Your aunt's mouth is a portal to the mirror dimension. If that wasn't Doctor Strange, I would have punched him because that just sounds like a fucking sexual insult.
I still kind of want to punch him. Is that bad? It's like, if I were Peter, I'd be like, no, hate my life. Very accurate. Ugh.
But yeah, getting back to the clone stuff.
Yeah,
the 90s Clone Saga also features an army of Spider-Man clones.
Maximum clonage.
Yes. Okay. Maximum clonage is the if that had happened to literally any other character had a story that bad, it would be their all-time worst. But with Spider-Man, I'm not quite sure.
We have not yet begun to scrape even the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. Trust me. No. Spider-Man's like Superman, but I was gonna say Spider-Man's like Superman, where we all know him. We all know incredibly famous stories about him. But we also know incredibly infamous stories about him.
But yeah, and the thing with like Jackal's plan, where he wants to basically kill everyone on Earth and replace everyone with a clone. Originally, he was just this creepy dude who wanted to clone this girl he loved.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
He made 2 clones. And then it turns out that he's so in love with clones that he wants to turn everyone on Earth into a clone. He made 5 or 6 fully Spider-Man clone. Fully functional.
And the part
clones. Okay.
The part that kills me about it is the fact that whenever clones come up again in Marvel, or at least in Spider-Man, they take all the bad stuff other than editorial mandate from the Clone Saga, but they don't take the very few good things. Because, like you mentioned before, a lot of the early stories are not that bad. You have, the first, I guess, in-name appearance of, like, Ben Reilly. You have the first appearance of Kane, who have both been developed into really good characters.
Yeah, the rule of the Clone Saga is this. Focus on Ben, good. Focus on Peter, bad. I mean, this is Peter at his worst. I mean...
Right.
I want to counter your they only focus on the bad stuff. I present to you Deadpool.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, that's when he had the Gwen Stacy clones, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And I want to say, I think the Clone Saga like it kind of was kind of what created Peter's reputation as being a whiny bitch. Because up until that point, like Peter, he wasn't really whiny. He was like more angry. Like even when Gwen died, you didn't like really see him cry or anything. He just got super mad. But then the Clone Saga, no, he's just the most emotionally unstable little bitch ever. I mean, you already touched on this. Like, just like finding out that he was a clone. He got so pissed off that he just violently attacks Ben, who wasn't doing anything wrong, and then he punches his pregnant wife in the face.
And you're just like, and this is the guy we're supposed to love and want to see succeed. Really?
Yeah.
Once again,
the guy we're rooting for. The wife puncher.
Like I was saying, once again, when Hank Pym does it, he's meant to be ill, and he does an open hand slap. He gets villainized. Peter violently punches a pregnant woman. No, he's fine.
He wasn't under mind control or anything. He was not. No mind control, no drugs or anything. There was nothing in his system negatively affecting his mind. That was just all him.
Rage. Yeah. But no, Hank Pym's an entirely different can of worms, dude. Let's not even go there because we'll be here all night.
Yeah, that's a whole nother stream. That's a whole nother episode. So, yeah, and then might as well wrap up the clone bit. I think that the ending of the saga, where it turns out that not only was Norman Osborn the whole thing behind the whole thing, it was all part of Norman Osborn's plan somehow, and then he like basically murders Peter and MJ's child. He like murders their baby, and then like Ben has like one of the most like cruel and sadistic deaths ever.
Yeah, stabbed in the back by the green. Which, and honestly, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. Bringing back Norman Osborn was a mistake. It really was. I mean, you have, you have, the Green Goblin saga having been continued through through Harry, which I don't know how we missed talking about it, but like I don't remember if it was the 80s or the 70s, but like Harry Osborn's death was one of the most well done bits of Spider-Man. I mean, it really was.
The thing is, I kind of hate Harry Osborn. I mean, does any all right? I agree that his death issue was very well handled. Like that's the one time I've actually liked him as a character. But aside from that, does anyone really like Harry?
No, well, no, because he's kind of a complete jackass. But like, I don't know, the fact that the bond of friendship between Peter and Harry was so strong that Peter was, willing to be there for him in his last moments, and they reconciled before he died. I mean, that to me is just, I mean, it was a really well done scene. And then Joe Quesada had to ruin it like he does with so many things with One More Day, but that's onward. But like I was saying before, you had that continuation of the Green Goblin. You had Harry, you had the Hobgoblin with the various people that have been the Hobgoblin.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Hobgoblin, because he's one of the strangest Spider-Man villains ever. I mean, I actually really like those original stories where you didn't really know who he was. He was a mystery. And then it turns out that it was that random boring dude who works at the Bugle, Betty Brant's husband.
Right.
That leads.
Lame. And then
like, what?
And then in the 90s, it turns out that it was like actually an evil fashion designer the whole time.
Yeah. Who I think he was the one who got into the 90s show. Got voiced by Mark Hamill. Like that version of the Green Goblin or the Hobgoblin was fine to keep around. Mm-hmm. And then I remember it was either the late 90s or the early 2000s, but like he became possessed by a demon or something. And again, that kind of kicks back into the whole Spidey doesn't really need mythic villains. Like magical, but it's just like, okay, the Hobgoblin is possessed by a demon. Why?
Because
trick question, because the answer is stupid. But it's like, it was really weird and out of place. Really weird. Wait, hang on. He died? I guess I can kind of see. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Yeah. And then the Clone Saga wraps up. Ben Reilly is dead. Peter and MJ's baby is dead. And then shortly after that, we get The Gathering of Five, another Spider-Man story with mystical elements. So it's bound to be good. And the most important thing about that one is it's the triumphant return of everyone's favorite Spider-Man character, Aunt May. It turns out that she was never dead. And again, her death, Norman Osborn is behind every bad thing that's ever happened to Spider-Man. He was behind Aunt May's death. It turns out that he disguised some woman as her.
And that's what kills me about him, because it's like, okay, he's Norman Osborn. He's some crazy dude who was flying around in a cheap Halloween mask on a glider killing people with, like, pumpkin bombs. This isn't Doctor Doom. He doesn't, like, make backup plans of backup plans of backup plans. He's fucking crazy. Roll with that. But they're like, no, and especially in recent years, bringing him back and it's like, he's this evil mastermind who no, he's not. What is this crap?
And then in like the late 2000s, they tried to like, expand him beyond a Spider-Man villain. They tried to like make him an everyone villain. It was like
he's the master of the Dark Siege and the Reign, where he's master of the US.
Yeah. Where he's taken over S.H.I.E.L.D. and renamed it Hammer, which he was apparently too lazy to come up with an acronym for. I'm not even kidding. I've read that. That's the actual explanation. They're like, what's the shield? A hammer.
Shield, no, because it's shield and sword. So what's something that's both offensive and defensive? A hammer.
Communism? Oh wait, no, need a sickle for that.
well, they can make another organization called Sickle. No, like who's another?
That's the Russian version of Shield.
Is it real? Wait, it's a real thing.
No. That's just me saying it as a joke.
Oh, don't give him
honestly, given naming conventions in comic books, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, don't even joke about this. He'll give them ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, like they mean to tell me they're not already planning that? If it wasn't for the fact that with current U.S. politics in Russia, damn well know they would have done that.
Yeah.
Ow.
Also, this is all kind of moot anyway, because no matter what we jokingly say here that may become reality, Nick Spencer is...
I think you cut out again.
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing we could say that would make it any worse. Because apparently your reward at Marvel for, completely ruining a character is getting to write the flagship character. I just sorry. Going off on a tangent there.
Yeah. So Sony, after Gathering of Five, after the 90s wrapped up, this I feel like early 2000s we saw at the beginning what I think is the last decent main Spider-Man book we've ever gotten. That would be Straczynski's run. And I think that the early parts of Straczynski's run were pretty damn solid. I mean, they had some weird kind of out of place mystical elements. It wasn't perfect, but overall, I think that in those early days he does have a good grasp of Peter's character and what makes Spider-Man work. He did pretty good track record, and then it all kind of went to shit.
Well, and I mean that's also partially not his fault too, because I know. JMS, he's done a lot of really good stuff. So I like to think, honestly, it has to do between, Civil War, Joe Quesada being him, and just, that whole spiraling from that is what really ruined it. Because the more I hear about it and the more I read about it, like even with One More Day, him wanting to do stuff to like improve it or fix things, like I don't know if either of you watch it, but you ever heard of Atop the Fourth Wall?
I used to watch it.
Yeah. Lin Cara, the guy who runs it, when he did the 200th episode, was talking about this whole thing where...
I just think of him as the porn guy.
The porn guy?
You know about the thing?
Have you seen the Mr. Medicare video about him?
No.
Yeah, it turns out that in his early 20s, he had a tendency to go on like hardcore like hentai sites, and he looked at a bunch of creepy porn involving Muppets and she-males and stuff.
Muppets, she-males, necrophilia, and the green M&M.
Huh.
And he also wrote a comic called The Lightbringer.
Okay then. Well, there you go.
Yeah. He wrote a comic called Lightbringer where the protagonist, he saw this woman being murdered in an alley, and he ran away because he was scared.
Being raped in an alley.
Oh Jesus. Okay. But the Sorry,
It's
I've
like
completely
the,
lost
the,
my
the
train of thought.
quality of the art. Just to show you what the comic looks like. Have you seen Chris Chan's Sonic comics?
On
No.
you.
Sonic. Oh wait, that.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sonic
Yeah,
2.
Christian Weston
no,
Chandler.
please, thank you.
It looks like
Yeah,
Sonic.
don't torture him.
Yeah,
Or,
let's not, guys. Come on. We're already talking about one more day. Give me
yeah,
some,
yeah,
give
yeah.
me
Let's
some, give me some
Straczynski.
levity here.
Straczynski. Think of Straczynski.
But the Straczynski with that, like he had mentioned in his review of it, and I looked it up and found this out. Apparently, JMS had wanted to like explain at the end of the book the things that had changed because of the deal with Mephisto, and wanted to do stuff like bring Gwen Stacy back and like all the stuff that could have like led to a bunch of different stuff. And then you have Joe Quesada with the much maligned, it's magic, we don't have to explain it, which it's like, really, like no glimmer of hope there. Just let's just flip off the fans and wing it.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah,
mind you, I'm not entirely sure how Peter and MJ never getting married would have kept Gwen alive, but I'm not questioning it at this point because it's just.
Well, it kept Harry alive, so.
Yeah, which that still makes no sense to me, but meh.
But yeah. Well,
And
we're talking
then
about
somehow retconned into the timeline Carly Cooper, which is just probably the character I dislike the most out of all of Marvel, and that includes Squirrel Girl. Because it just
ouch.
I'm sorry, and say they will in the comments or whatever, but I didn't like Squirrel Girl before the current run, where it looks like it was, drawn by somebody who does fan art on Tumblr. No, just the entire concept is really stupid to me. And the fact, and it's like somebody compared it to like Howard the Duck. I'm like, no, at least Howard is meant to be comedic, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And he's actually been in some decent comics. I have never read anything with Squirrel Girl that has been remotely enjoyable.
The only thing I read was Bendis' New Adventures, where she was the fucking nanny.
Yeah, she was the nanny for Power Man and Jessica Jones, wasn't she?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the only time I was okay with her character, because she's like, okay, she's a superhero nanny. That's fine. I can live with that. But everything else, just
Well, in like stuff like, okay, you can take that in that context, but stuff like, okay, think about, and I know you guys have seen this somewhere, but like her being able to punch out Thanos. It's like, okay. Think back to like the original Infinity Gauntlet. You have all the heroes of Marvel Earth and a bunch of mythic heroes. They teamed up to stop him. Not kill him, but just to stop him. And they all died. Granted, he was empowered by the Infinity Gauntlet, but this is not a dude who any one hero should be able to take out. I mean, you're talking, especially not that. I mean, you're talking like Batman against Darkseid tier fight. So like Thor, Silver Surfer, Adam Warlock, somebody in the upper tiers, not Squirrel Girl. That just that irritates the piss out of me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know we keep derailing them. Ugh.
Yeah, but yeah, like the moment I think that the first story that kind of signaled the permanent downfall of Spider-Man would be Sins Past. That was the first Straczynski sale. That I'm just gonna go ahead and explain this for people who don't know. Okay, you all know Gwen Stacy, Peter Spider-Man's first girlfriend, tragically.
One quick warning to everybody: if you have any joy or love in your soul, protect it as best you can now.
Yes.
KKK clan meetings are more enjoyable than what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. People with heart problems and expectant mothers should not listen to this. Okay, so anyway, all right, we all know about Gwen Stacy, Peter's girlfriend, murdered by Norman Osborn. Sins Past reveals that before Norman Osborn murdered Gwen, she cheated on Peter, fucked Norman, and then he impregnated her with 2 babies, which she had in secret. And then Norman raised them to hate Spider-Man. So basically, Gwen fucked Norman Osborn while dating Peter. That's what Sins Past is about.
And the part of it that kills me the most with it is like, if you take Marvel's sliding time scale into account, they can't be more than like 4.
Well, no, they explained that because of the Goblin Serum, they aged at an accelerated rate.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. It's just, ugh.
But it's the Goblin serum. You don't have to explain it.
Yeah, right, of course. Ugh.
But
Which, by the
yeah,
way, that was one of the things that JMS wanted to retcon out with One More Day, and
they wouldn't
Quesada
let him
said no.
because Sins Past was so brilliant. He can't touch that continuity.
Yes, yes, that was brilliant in the same way that I am a black woman.
Yeah, and then there was some other stories I didn't get to read. Something called The Other.
Yeah.
People seem divided about.
Yeah,
Well,
because
that
pretty
was-
much.
No,
Sorry, go ahead. Because I was gonna say, because you know how you're just raving about the whole Spider-Man mysticism. This
Yeah.
is pretty much the embodiment of that, because it's
Yeah.
pretty much just saying, "Oh no, Peter didn't get bitten by a random very active spider. The spider chose him.
It
He's
was a
part of this
magical spider. Woo!
He's part of this giant totem of life that connects all the worlds together."
What do you
And
mean it wasn't made on drugs?
yeah, and also we get to meet the world's greatest Spider-Man villain, Mordon.
Moreland. And again, he's like Darnell was saying, he's basically like the embodiment of villains that do not fit Spider-Man. It's like, and that's the worst part, because like I know we're going to talk about Spider-Verse, and like I actually enjoyed a lot of Spider-Verse, but like Moreland and his family doing the whole, ooh, let's hunt all the totems from across the multiverse. It's like, okay, this is not a Spider-Man villain.
More sense in the Venom book than it did in Spider-Man.
Did they have a Venom tie-in for Spider-Verse, or is that the Venom
no. The Venomverse book.
Okay, I haven't gotten around to reading Venomverse.
Because Venomverse, the main villains in the Venomverse are aliens that like to eat the symbiotes. That's their entire thing.
Okay, see, that makes more sense.
They're psychic aliens.
That sounds more grounded in realism. Quote
They're
unquote.
psychic aliens that they like to hunt the symbiotes, and they like to hunt symbiotes that are tailored to strong warriors, aka the Marvel heroes.
Right. Makes sense. Yeah, no, but the no, Moreland does not fit as a Spider-Man villain, and they keep trying to push him, and it's just like, it doesn't work, guys. Give up.
I mean, he wasn't the worst. I mean, his first appearance, I mean,
oh no, he's no Judas Traveler, but like, just
Yeah.
in concept, you're like, okay. At least Judas Traveler, they finally decided to have him, fuck off and leave. But they didn't. Moreland, they keep trying to bring him back.
That's the thing with these comics pros. They don't know when to just shut up and listen. They don't know when to fucking stop. They're missing that part of their brains that tells them when something isn't working, and then they should just give up and try something new. There's some weird disease that affects all comics pros where they're missing that part of their brains. So hold on, what?
No, yep. I'm getting an image. I'm getting an image of some of that tiny part in their brains that you're talking about in.
Is it going to be a picture of the whole brain? Is that going to be the joke?
No, here it is. This is the part you're missing. This is a good representation.
Huh.
Do you see it, Matt?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah. You wonder. And then, of course, you can't talk about, unfortunately, you can't talk about JMS's run without running right into Civil War and the events that follow.
Yeah, I did not get to read his Civil War tie-ins, but I know that's where like the famous Captain America quote come from, where he's like talking about being a tree who refuses to move, and he says, "No, you move." He teaches Spider-Man how to be a tree, basically.
Well, it's a good quote from Cap, and I mean it kind of harkens back to, like I was saying, with Maximum Carnage, with him being basically the Superman equivalent, inspiring hope, which really good in concept, not so much in application. But that's pretty much all of Civil War in a nutshell.
Yeah, I want to get this out of the way. I fucking hate the original Civil War so much. I mean, admittedly, I was not even able to finish it. I hated it so much. I only read like 2 or 3 issues, and I'm just like, I'm done. And to be fair, I wasn't as hardened back then.
Right.
Like, I could probably finish it now, but at the time, it was just so painful. So I have a strong negative reaction to any Civil War comics. Okay.
Right.
Like,
Oh no, Matt! Trust me. By the time I make you read Civil War 2, you're gonna start begging for the first one.
Don't
you don't have to.
Don't do that to him. Come on.
You don't have to make me read it. I was planning on it before I even met you.
Because we, of course, know what Civil War II is going to lead into.
The
greatest company wide crossover ever.
See Kyle.
Yeah, and then right after Civil War,
Nazi wet dream. Sorry.
And we already kind of talked about One More Day, but just giving my personal thoughts. I've been aware of One More Day for a long ass time. I always hated it with a passion, based entirely on the premise. I got to read it for the first time a few weeks ago, and it is just one of the most unpleasant and hateful and antagonistic stories ever written. It's just, by the end, these assholes, they're basically taunting you. They just like know like that they're like, really pissing off fans by like, breaking up this perfectly good relationship, and then they're just like rubbing in your face, making it as painful as possible, and then they expect you to just get over it because, surprise, Harry Osborn is back. Everyone likes Harry Osborn, right? I mean, that's what it's supposed to, like, take the pain away. It's like you're all heartbroken that Peter and MJ are broken up, and that they're like like wonderful daughter is like never going to be born. Surprise, Harry's back. It's all better.
And Peter's got a new love interest named after Joe Quesada's daughter.
Yeah.
Isn't it
Wait,
great?
really?
Yeah, that's who Carly Cooper's named after.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like self-insert fan fiction times 1,000.
So it pretty much is. It pretty much is Bendis pre-Bendis.
Okay, dear.
It pretty much is Bendis before Bendis.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, naming a fictional character after a family member is the worst idea ever, because these motherfuckers they make porn of everything. You just know. So that's why you should never make a family name a fictional character after a family member, because the internet rule 34 they will make you regret it.
Yeah, I was gonna say there'd be no porn of Carly Cooper because she's pretty much universally hated, but I'm sure there is.
There is.
Yeah,
Matt and I have researched this. The only porn that there isn't is of the Chameleon.
You are. I'm not gonna lie. You are some glorious sons of bitches for doing that. Because
like he said, we researched it. What he actually meant was he researched it and then he shoved it in my face.
You enjoyed it.
Okay, and okay, well,
let's talk about the Real Clone Saga.
So many new things learning about Matt.
The Real Clone Saga. Okay, so the Real Clone Saga.
If I may, Matt, before we get into that, just to let anyone know who may not already know, I actually did an April 1st review of One More Day with the tongue firmly in the cheek. But, yeah, pretty much explains all my feelings there. It's much like Matt said, it is probably the worst Spider-Man story ever made. And considering stuff we're going to be getting into, that's really saying something. But, like, you cannot beat the sheer offensive badness. I mean, like the last bit, that's the splash page of all the wonderful moments from Peter and MJ's marriage. It's basically Joe Quesada just giving you a middle finger. Because
sorry, you go.
Know, that's a petulant child screaming, "My ideas are better. My ideas are better." And it's not something you would expect from a grown man with any sort of logical facilities to him. Yeah, and sorry, I need to get that out there. My apologies.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And the thing about One More Day is, like, it could have been a decent story if it had just ended with, like, Peter learning to let Aunt May go. It ends with her dying. It could have been okay, not great, but just okay. But because of that ending and other problems, admittedly, but just it really is one of the worst moments in all comics. It permanently ruined Spider-Man. He's still never recovered from that abomination.
It's like Civil War for Tony Stark. I mean, it's like the biggest failing of your existence happened. It's never been addressed. and you've just kind of moved on and tried to pretend that nobody noticed.
No.
We noticed.
It was heavily addressed in Civil War. That's the big thing. I say that with Civil War, at least Tony actually did grow as a character. He fell deeply, but then he actually grew back.
Tony, yeah, but then he erased his memory afterwards.
No, but then because he still quotes it in Civil War 2, it's like when he tells Carol Danvers, Carol, do you remember how much hatred I got over the Civil War 2? I mean, over the original Civil War, like that's its entire argument against Carol. Carol, yeah. You're becoming me.
Yeah, and she was, and didn't learn the lesson.
No, even worse. Like I said, at least Tony got reprimanded for the first Civil War. Carol got scot-free.
Hey, come on now! It's 2018. We can't be, accusing Captain Marvel of doing terrible stuff. Hey. People would just have fits. People who don't even buy comics. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, all 10 of Carol Danvers' actual fans.
Yeah.
No, not actual fans.
Well, that's not fair, because I mean, okay, I like Carol Danvers. I just really don't like what they've done with her lately. And I'm not even getting into like the art style choices. Just as a character, they've basically made her a villain.
Yeah, I mean, I was I like Carol fine in the old days. I mean, I thought Ms. Marvel was fine, but then the thing happened, the change happened, and then so yeah, old Carol fine, new Carol blah. But yeah, the real Clone Saga.
Yeah.
So basically, what the real Clone Saga is like a couple of the original writers of the Clone Saga basically telling the story how they wanted to before editorial came in and ruined everything. And it's not
much better.
Yeah, and I agree, it's an improvement. It's not perfect. I still have some problems that Jackal still kind of sucks, but he dies way sooner. And then like at the end where like it turns out that Harry Osborn was behind the whole thing. That was not a fan.
Well, that was one of the original plans for the ending, if I recall correctly.
I know, but I'm just saying I don't think it was the best idea. But aside from that, it's fine. It's definitely like anything was guaranteed to be better than the original, but this is actually a pretty big improvement.
But by the way, y'all want to know something really funny? I don't know if y'all know this. One of the proposed plans for ending the 90s Clone Saga was to have Mephisto be behind it all.
I think I heard that, and then I blocked it out.
Kind of funny, isn't it? Not a ha-ha funny, more like a, insane screaming funny, but still.
Is Mephisto the worst Marvel villain ever? At least in relation to his power level? I think Mephisto has like the worst power level to accomplishments ratio ever.
Right.
Well, he is supposed to be a trickster demon, so let's put that into comparison. He's not like
he's not the actual devil. He's just kind of putting on the airs of it. But like, yeah, they've always been very inconsistent with what he can and can't do. And like I'll be on, like he showed up in like, I forget the number of it, but like the latest issue of like Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider, it was a Damnation tie-in.
Yep.
Yeah. Ben makes a deal with Mephisto.
Who thought that was a good idea? Was this a joke? Was that issue released on April Fool's Day?
Was it? Actually, I don't know. Let me check.
I don't think so, because April Fool's Day was on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and if I didn't see the solicitations for like several issues from now that say, "Oh no, he's off doing that," okay. But like, I'm assuming it's some kind of trick or ploy or something.
Considering the fact, because I mean, just considering the fact with Damnation on how almost every Damnation tie-in is better than the actual Damnation book.
Oh, I mean, I can't. I mean, people were like, "Oh, it's a Doctor Strange tie-in," and I've been reading Doctor Strange. I'm like, "Oh, that'll be awesome." Nick Spencer's writing it. Bye. Just no. Like, if I could avoid the tie-ins, I would.
They made Moon Knight into Deadpool.
Yeah, you showed me that.
They did what?
They made Moon Knight into Deadpool.
No, I heard you. It didn't make it any less crazy.
There's a point where literally this is an actual line. Oh, let me try and pick up Thor's hammer. Probably one of my personalities is wordy.
Yes, this is the sound of me slitting my throat in pain.
And then
I'm already
when
ghosting
he
him.
picks it up, he's like, "I'm worthy. I'm not crazy. I'm worthy." And then immediately, bam, right across the face because it's Jane's sword picking up summoning the hammer.
Oh, jeez. Wait, isn't she dead?
No, well, this is right before she died.
Oh, okay.
This is right before they put us out of
They
our
were
misery.
making a big deal about that with Thor. I'm like, just get on with it. Come on.
Yeah, I'm starting to get the
It's like-
feeling that Nick Spencer doesn't actually like superheroes. Just
You think?
just
I don't know.
a small instinct. Just a slight instinct.
A little bit.
Hmm.
It's almost like he's
Wait.
got some crazy Nazi wet dream. I can't imagine where I got that feeling from. Oh, wait. Hail Hydra.
But yeah, speaking of people who hate superheroes and probably shouldn't be writing them, it was shortly after, well, not shortly after, it was after One More Day that a gentleman named Dan Slott took over the main Spider-Man book. Now, I have mentioned
there was-
Dan Slott. I know there were some writers between them, but who cares about them?
Well, I mean, if we're going to cover One More Day, there is one more thing we need to cover with that.
I was joking. Go ahead.
One Moment in Time.
I haven't read that.
Yeah. Basically, think it was Joe Quesada's answer to everybody who hated One More Day by it basically erased the deal, but kept everything the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the deal didn't happen, and this was just the timeline now. But you're like, no, because, again, everything that the deal changed still remained changed. So you didn't actually fix anything. You basically just spent, I think it was, 3 or 4 issues, just basically you may as well have just taken a line of pictures of yourself just flipping off the audience. Because it's like, oh, and by the way, the best part is Doctor Strange wasn't able to repair May's bullet wounds in One More Day, but he could fix Mary Jane's in One Moment in Time.
Yeah, in Marvel Universe, it's just the most deadly thing in the world is bullet wounds.
Because,
the most deadly thing is cancer. That is the most deadly thing.
No,
unless you're dead.
Are worse. No, bullet wounds are worse. Bullets are worse than cancer.
Bullet wounds. It's like, because you remember, of course, I mentioned this in my review, but the brain surgeon, the literal brain surgeon who had mastered magic and had died multiple times and could make the universe roll over and play dead. We all know those things are way more complicated than fixing bullet wounds. Way more. Way more. It just and see that's the problem to me with, especially with that part of One More Day. It's a plot that literally requires everyone to be incompetent or stupid. And
because like not a single genius in the Marvel, like all the people in Marvel who've created time travel, universe hopping machines,
go to alternate and negated timelines.
Yes, these people who can go to not just time travel, completely different universe, did not have the skills to heal a bullet wound.
Went inside people's bodies in order to heal them from growth and things like that.
Yeah. Or like, what's the that one X-Men who can heal people?
Elixir.
Elixir. It's like, so Spidey, having contacted everybody in the Marvel Universe, can't get a hold of this one dude who's like been able to heal people through telephones. What? I mean, I think, what was it? They were off doing something else during Civil War, but like, you would think Spidey would be able to, you know what I mean? Somebody would be able to.
I mean, because the X-Men were technically neutral, so it'd be the equivalent of like going to a church or a doctor.
Right. Which is kind of ironic when you think about the whole Mutant Registration Act with the superhuman registry. It's weird.
But one of my favorite things. So can we just all admit that like Mary Jane probably did? I mean, Aunt May probably did do something that's like all this. Everyone just went, no, fuck her. What if Spider-Man asks, she's gonna die?
I could see that.
Well, let's make a theory. Okay, she lived in Avengers Mansion for a while. She must have done something in Avengers Mansion that was so bad.
She stole during one of Ben Grimm's poker games. She already banged Jarvis. We already know that. But
yeah, which that's almost as bad as the mythic door in her mouth meme.
But anyways, I was saying, during Ben Grimm's poker games, she managed to flush out everyone, and they're all saying, fuck this bitch. We're gonna let her die. We all know she cheated.
Ben, what happens if she's dying? It's clobbering time. That was funny.
Is it kind of bad? I really want this to happen now. Like, we just get like a comic where it's just like the prelude to One More Day, and it's just on a day in the life of Aunt May.
Everyone's ass at a poker game.
Yes, and then at the end, it's all the characters just like conniving in the background, saying, "Okay, if she ever dies and Peter asks us for her help, we'll all make up excuses."
No, it's just a whole issue of her, like, going around Avengers Mansion, like, pissing off everyone. Like, I guess Ben, she just finds a way to make.
I mean, Wolverine would automatically hate her. We already know that from the usual comics.
And I think Wolverine kind of hated her. She gave him shit about his drinking or something.
Yeah. No, for smoking
a cigar. So.
Yeah, smoking cigars inside the mansion.
Oh no, I think we're getting okay. She pissed off Wolverine. Then, as revenge, he started some dirty rumors about her, spread her to all the X-Men. So all the mutants are automatically turned against her thanks to Wolverine.
She was a KKK member in the 60s.
I'm the best there is at what I do, and what I do is give an old lady shit.
No. She's a patron of William Stryker. She donates to William Stryker's church every day.
No, she slept with William Stryker.
Oh God.
She slept with William Stryker
in the past. That mental image.
But
It actually reminds me of that one miniseries Trouble, but let's not bring that up because I'm just.
Oh yeah, Trouble. I know about that.
It's like when you forget who these people are supposed to be. It's kind of It's kind of sweet. No, it's not.
In case you don't know, Trouble is a sex comedy comic. It's this kinky sex comedy starring young versions of May, Uncle Ben, and Peter's parents.
Written by Mark Millar, by the way. The same dude who wrote Civil War.
Yeah,
and Kick-Ass.
It shows them like skinny dipping and stuff. So if you ever want to see Aunt May and Uncle Ben skinny dipping, I got the comic for you. Well, speaking of Mark,
you guys want to see? Y'all want to see the Parkers with the air of a 70s, 80s sex comedy? There you go.
But
don't. Why do you do this?
No.
Oh God.
Don't show us that.
The worst part about that for me was that they made Aunt May and what's Peter's mother's name? Mary? I think it's Mary. Look like MJ and Gwen Stacy. It's like, why y'all do this?
Oh, you know what they say about Oedipus complex?
Yeah, I don't need to know about Peter's anything really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
Todd McFarlane did enough with that in the 80s.
Yeah, and to take your minds off of that, take your minds off that horror. Speaking of Mark Millar, I think I actually think his Marvel Knights Spider-Man is actually surprisingly good. I thought that was actually surprisingly decent. I'm not even a big. Yeah, it's actually not bad. I mean, well, it's Mark Millar, so it's like got a bit of his trademark mean-spirited stuff, but it's actually not bad. He's actually fairly decent at writing Spider-Man. So if you want, I think yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, and I don't know. You might hate it for all I know, but I thought it was surprisingly decent. Well, okay.
It's like, and I'll go ahead and tell anyone out there because I don't know if you guys have read it, but like the actual comic of Kick-Ass. If you saw the movie and thought, "Ooh, this would be good," no, just no, because and I hate to be this way, the movie was actually good. Yeah, it's just like if you're in the mood for something incredibly mean-spirited and just kind of vile, yeah, pick up Kick-Ass. If you're not, don't do that.
Oh, have you seen the new Kick-Ass comic, the reboot?
What?
Oh, let me show you what Millar is doing with the new Kick-Ass.
I don't think I want to see this, man. Come on. Have mercy.
Oh, God.
Introducing Free Kick-Ass.
Is it a chick with a really, really bad skin condition?
Nope. It's just a black chick that's really inspired by Kick-Ass. Even though Kick-Ass didn't die in the second book. And Kick Girl is still around. And they don't address that.
Maybe it'll be a very compelling character choice and they'll Sorry. Sorry, I had a bunch of crap caught in my throat there. What were you saying? Because, like, come on, they honest, and that was not an April Fool's thing. I'm taking it.
No, it wasn't.
That-
Oh, and the other funny thing, she doesn't even have the pain thing that the original Kit-Kats had.
And is she even incompetent? Because like I
he was
guess like
incompetent at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, but not like it makes it see like the way she talks and the way she makes it is incredibly more worse. Because like the original Kit Kat was incompetent, whereas this one it's like just no, you're just a rookie.
Yeah, but
Is
that's
it
the
just
point I
that
was trying to
they
make
made
because like the whole like premise behind Kick-Ass is like he wants to be a hero, but he's incompetent, and kind of inspires more capable people to do it. I mean, having a
Right.
Kick-Ass who's like just a rookie, that kind of defeats the purpose. So that's stupid.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
But anyway, are there any other Spider runs between the Abomination that is One More Day and the Abomination that is Dan Slott's run that we should discuss?
Well, it's not a run, but I do want to talk about like some of the like more in between like mini runs they did that I kind of interesting. Like let's say for instance, Blue and Fever.
Oh yeah, Blue was like way before any of that. That was like what 2002, I think.
Wasn't that the one that had more of a focus on MJ?
That was the one that had to focus on Gwen Stacy.
Well, they were both
was
in
it?
it.
Okay.
But more
I
Gwen.
hadn't read it. I just heard about it.
Yeah, I liked it. It was pretty good. It was Jeff Loeb, Tim Saleh on art.
Oh, okay.
And so it's because the whole
Yeah,
point
Blue.
is that like every Valentine's Day, Peter goes to his attic and he talks to a video recorder, pretty much telling Gwen Stacy what had happened the year, after the last Valentine's Day. So kind of like talking to Gwen, saying, "Hey, Gwen, this year, blah 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 blah," and him kind of saying like, once again, gotta go with the whole depression thing of like, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. Like, I'm sorry that I wasn't the hero I am now back then, because otherwise I probably would have saved you.
Right.
It kind of him showing that she kind of turned him into Spider-Man, because not only did she make him feel happy for the first time, she actually shown him that like he could be both a good person, like actually have a love life and be a hero. And then at the end you see Mary Jane and she's like crying, not because like he still loves Gwen, but because like he's so troubled over the fact that like he lost a friend as well as a lover.
Yeah. Well, that
And
that kind of ties
Peter,
into the...
and she tells Peter, "Hey, Peter, tell Gwen I said hi."
Oh.
Yeah, and I'd say like the two stories that really kind of sum up Peter's girlfriends. I'd say Parallel Lives really sums up him and MJ's role in his life, like the Peter MJ relationship. And then I'd say Blue is kind of the same thing for Gwen. So that's kind of why I like don't have antagonistic feelings towards Gwen, even though I prefer MJ, because she does have a role in Spider-Man's history. Blue, right. Spider-Man Blue really fleshes that one out. But again, I still think that MJ is perfect for him. So
yeah.
Well, I mean,
what's that? Go ahead. No, I was not saying, but like just show here with the whole point is like so you see all the tapes. That's just pretty much him saying, you know that whole point of him saying, and for a long time I knew a girl with an incredible smile, so much good in her heart that made me think life can be great.
I do like the very Ditko-esque art on that one. That was nice.
Yeah, trust me. Almost all the color series is pretty much Ditko-esque.
I might need to look that up because that actually looks very interesting.
Daredevils is about Karens. Like, it's kind of funny because all the color series is about like the heroes and a love and like the relationship associated with a color, kind of showing the nature of that relationship.
Right.
Except for Hulk, which was the first one. And it's about Betty Grant, who wasn't dead at this point. And then the Captain America one, which is about Bucky.
The ambiguously gay duo.
No, but because it's when they were still, like, Bucky was still kid, so it's like, okay, it's about innocence and how, like, both characters kind of lost their... But it's like, still, god damn it.
Yeah, it's like they could have made a better choice there.
They could have at least made it into, like, more of it, like, you were my brother, Bucky. But it's like, god damn it, you're making this about innocence and the war. and you're showing like both characters having like different girlfriends.
Hey guys, something I just realized is that if 70s Peter was written with his modern characterization, he would have been the one who tried to clone Gwen.
He so would.
Yes, he would have been the Jackal. If Jerry Conway's Peter was written like he was nowadays, he would have been the Jackal.
Yeah.
Original Clone Saga.
Yeah, he so would have been. Holy crap.
And also, like I said, going into the other one, this is one of my favorite.
Well,
of the weird.
If you take that to its logical extreme, I mean, if you take the clone conspiracy into account, he kind of did.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't him, but it was him.
Yeah. Speaking of clones conspiracy, can we please finally get to Dan Slott's run?
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, but I just want to show people because I can't stop advocating for this book. Spider-Man Fever is one of the weirdest things I have ever seen.
This is some Ditko-esque trippy shit, man.
This is what happens apparently when you spray Spider-Man with bug spray and you have a demon living in his apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you get that design from? Oh, it's the demon that lives in the corner of my apartment. Okay, you're cut off. But no, I mean, if we're gonna get into Dan Slott, I mean, I don't know. By this point, I mean, after One Moment in Time, like One More Day and One Moment in Time, I stopped comics for a while. I mean, I only got back in I want to say, actually, I think Spider-Verse was what brought me back in, ironically. But after that, I mean, the closest thing I know anything about is Dying Wish, which is just, the start of bullshit galore.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. At that point in history, there was no one who could have just come in and salvaged Spider-Man. He was just so far down, so far gone at that point. They could have gotten anyone to come in, and they probably couldn't undo the damage. But they got Dan Slott. So I might have brought up Dan Slott once or twice in the past. I might have been slightly fairly critical of him at a couple points. I might have expressed mild disappointment at his work, at his attitude. Nothing too serious, just mild. But you might have kind of inferred from that I fucking hate this man. He is one of my least favorite people in all of comics. He hates Spider-Man. He's just this horribly unpleasant human being, constantly antagonizing fans. So I do not like Dan Slott at all.
Not even a little bit.
Just saying. Just putting that out there. That might have come as a big surprise to some people, but yes, I do not like Dan Slott. Okay, his first couple of Spider-Man stories weren't that bad. I mean, even in them, you could kind of when he wasn't doing a terrible job, you can still kind of feel like some of his resentment for the character, in Big Time. Again, kind of mean-spirited take on Peter. It wasn't horrible or anything, but you can kind of tell he'd probably rather be writing someone else. And then there were a couple of good ideas in those early stories, I guess getting Peter to work for a science company. It's kind of an inventor.
Yeah,
I guess that was a logical evolution of the character because he is a science-based superhero. He should be doing sciencey things in his spare time. Yeah. So that was fine. And then in Spider Island, you had him learning martial arts from Shang-Chi to I guess improve his fighting style. I was fine with that. Spider Island
character I didn't expect anything ever again.
What's that?
Shang-Chi. Yeah, Shang-Chi. I mean, that's one of those the more minor characters that you never expect to see ever again, despite the huge amount of importance they have.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of granted they lost the rights to him, but Rom Space Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, disappointing. Yeah. Sorry, Henry. Derailed.
Whoop. Yeah.
That's all I've been doing. I've been derailing.
Oh, we always derail. It's all streams derail. It's expected.
Or do they branch off?
Yeah. And I mean, I think Spider Island was an okay story, not great, but I mean, it does that annoying thing that a lot of modern events do, where important stuff happens off panel and tie-in books. So I'm reading it, and I'm like, wait, when the fuck did Hawkeye and Black Panther become spider monsters? It would have been nice to show us that if you were going to include it in the story. So
and then Wait, but did you read the part afterwards when they go back to normal?
Yes, I read the whole thing.
Wait, but how is it that my beard grew back? We don't question that the same way we don't question how the Hulk's pants grow back.
Mm-hmm.
You think he just like gets his pants like in bulk from somewhere? Who would
I
sell
was
the
just
bulk
imagining he has either like stretchy pants.
Well, yeah, but that would only go so far. I mean, you think about it, the dude like, turns into a, 8 foot, 2,000 pound,
I have seen men much bigger than the Hulk being able to fit those things. Trust me, it is not unrealistic.
I guess. I don't know.
It's like people that would make the Blob look skinny are able to fit stretchy pants.
Yeah. Well, I just thinking more the transformation between Banner and the Hulk, I mean, just the difference in the strength. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, and then after Spider Island, we got Superior Spider-Man, which was it was controversial then. It's controversial now. So
and even in retrospect, it's really stupid and pointless. But Dan Slott seems continuing to want to throw it down our throats.
Yeah,
it's the greatest idea ever.
And I mean, my big thing with Superior is it just didn't do enough to highlight the positive aspects of Peter, because it's like, all right, yeah, Doc Ock, he did turn out to be kind of a shitty Spider-Man in the end, but it was more to do with just like what a psychotic, violent asshole he was. He was like just like this murderous, violent egomaniac. In terms of actual crime fighting, he was actually fairly competent, and the only reason it like kind of like went to shit at the end was because like Norman Osborn got involved.
Yeah,
because Norman hacked all the systems, kind of screwed everything up. But like, really, in terms of competence, in terms of just like planning, Doc Ock didn't really do anything wrong. It's just that Norman Osborn has ridiculously powerful hacking skills, and he ruined everything. So at the end, when it's like when Ock is like, "Oh, Peter, you were the superior Spider-Man the whole time," it's like all right,
this took 31 issues for you to figure out, really?
Well, not just that. I also, to be perfectly fair, there is also that point of like, remember when he's fighting the Abomination and he can't he doesn't know how to fight the villains well. He doesn't know how to like balance out having to fight the villains versus saving the civilians. I think that was kind of like the breaking point that Akio's like, okay, I now know why Peter's superior, because he knows that difference between that balance between being a hero and being self-sacrificing, which I don't have.
Yeah, just kind of leaving a Spider-Man 2099 to die.
Yeah.
So all right. We all know you're an asshole. We all know you're an asshole, but at the same time, it does not feel like a love letter to Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
No.
It should, because
well, that would require Dan Slott to actually care about the character, which he doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry.
Oh, you can go. I've been talking.
Well, like in the whole thing with Superior, and it's the thing that gets me, the bits that I've read of it, because again, I told you I'd stopped at like 9 and picked it up with the last one just to see, because I had to see how it ended, but it's the whole thing is like, it's an idiot plot. It requires every single person involved in it to be an idiot in order for the premise to work.
For some reason, the worst thing about it is like the only one who can figure out
Carly Cooper.
Yes.
Carly Cooper, and ironically,
she's the love of Peter. Fuck you. No.
Carly Cooper and the Avengers before Black Widow stepped in.
Right. But it's the whole thing of like, so the Avengers, who Peter has been a member of since at least Civil War, I forget, wasn't it like right before he joined?
No, like kind of a couple years right before Civil War. So I would say like he's been an Avenger at this point for like 3 years their time.
Right. But like, so the Avengers who have fought alongside him through countless things, even before he was on the team, can't figure out that Peter's acting a little weird. Okay. Like when they do the brain scan and you're like, oh, they're going to figure out it's Ock, and they don't. It's like, okay, after that, here's what you do is your second thing. Call up Doctor Strange, have him do mystical work. Ock can't defend against that. Oh, wait, you don't. Oh, yeah, because idiot plot.
or just have Jean Grey or Rachel Grey or any of the psychics.
Some
just
psionic person peer in, find out what's going on. No,
yeah, so again, Ock doesn't know any mental restraints against that. Peter does, but
right. And like Mary Jane, the love of Peter's life, because I remember in the beginning first issues they were kind of ship teasing Ock trying to get with her again. It's like, okay, so the bro she comes to is not wanting to sleep with Peter. Peter Ock, whatever the name is. Okay, so the love of Peter's life cannot figure out that he's off, but Carly Cooper can.
And then no, it better
or to make it worse,
with that one is even better because then you have Doc Ock's like, well, it's like I'm gonna be sleeping alone. Oh yeah, that's right, you slept with her, so I'll just masturbate to your memories of Mary Jane.
Ew. Which just creepy, but and the best
Peter was screaming the entire time. You could tell he was screaming the entire time it was happening.
Well, yeah, crazy Germanic man took over his body and is having a date with Rosie Palms. Come on. Ugh.
And then the weird part is when Peter tries to go to Ock's memories and he ends up looking at the pictures of Ock and Aunt May sleeping together.
Oh
God.
But like in like remember like the whatever the team up tie-in book they tried to do with
Avenging Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like, so he teams up with Kane, and Kane's whole response to Peter acting weird is, Peter's become kind of a dick. Really?
No shit, Kane.
It's like, Kane, you really?
Aren't you supposed to be psychic?
Are you supposed to say something ain't right?
Aren't you supposed to be psychic, Kane? Aren't you supposed to have visions and shit, and you can't figure this out?
Actually, I think when they brought him back, they nerfed his powers.
Yeah, when they brought him back. When he brought him back and he was like back, oh hey, you don't have the weird alien face anymore. Yeah, right. I also lost most of my mystic powers. I'm not
which by the way, he has that again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they got rid of it and then they brought it back.
Well, when they brought him back again for clone conspiracy, like he and Ben both had it for a while, and Ben still inconsistently does. It's weird, but that's for another stream.
Yeah,
but yeah, no. The whole thing with Superior, it's like you take 31 issues, which by the way, the entire time, again, idiot plot. You require everyone to be stupid to get to 31 issues that literally everyone already came to the conclusion of that Peter is the superior Spider-Man. You wasted like 2 years of our lives on this shit. How do you still have a job, sir?
Yes, and what exactly did this series even accomplish? I mean, what was the
Peter got a company, he had a job, and he was pretty much mini Iron Man.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And that's where we get even worse, because then you get into like the post Spider-Verse bullshit of, oh yeah, he's ripping off Tony Stark's backstory. Why?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Peter was supposed to be. I mean, even in conception, he was the normal guy who just happened to be a superhero who had to balance being a superhero with normal problems. There's literally like 1% of people on the planet who can identify with, oh, hey, he's Mark Zuckerberg now, but with like superhero things.
Yeah.
Pretty much a fail all around.
Yeah, and then after the whole comic thing.
Okay, let's be perfectly honest. Because even I think Peter, with all the stupidities he had in that book, was still more competent and realistic than Mark Zuckerberg is.
That is true.
At least it's not like a Elon Musk who thinks we all live in the Matrix and is spending billions of dollars to get us out of it.
Well, hey, somebody's got
Elon.
to.
No, Elon.
Be stuck with Hugo Weaving for all eternity.
My favorite thing of someone I've seen of comparing Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. Elon Musk is that fucking alien from the Starman song, wanting to return back to Mars. Zuckerberg is pretty much a robot trying to pretend to be human to control us all.
So he's Data, basically, but like
not
so
Data.
Lore. He's Lore.
Yeah, he's Lore.
Yeah, the evil one.
Yeah, jeez.
But I broke you when I compared this Elon Musk to the Starman character.
You mean the Bowie song?
Yeah, the Bowie song.
Oh yeah, I get it.
But so like, okay. like after Superior, you had Spider-Verse, which, you know, I mean, I'm sure y'all saw it too. Like the whole build up for it was just intense. I mean, you had the tie-in issues with like Edge of the Spider-Verse, and you had some actually really good ones there that I'm sad we didn't see more of.
I love the fact that the Patton Oswalt Spider-Man is the creepy one.
Yeah. Dude, that one that was horror-based, I think it was number 4. It's like, dude, that was awesome. I was like, why did we not get a series of that shit? Like, we can get a full going-on series for Spider-Gwen with, you know, Jason
Silk and
friggin' Jason Latour doing what fan fiction writers have been doing for decades. Ooh, let's make Gwen a spider person, but we can't get like the genuinely good horror comic. That's like, it's fucking awesome. It was. I'm sorry, it was.
We're too busy giving Kane his own solo book.
Hey, fuck you. Kane is good.
Kane, that was a good book. I liked it. The bits that I've read of Kane's Scarlet Spider run, I actually liked.
Yeah, if you say
I don't really
so.
care for the I don't really care for the costume, but it's good.
But yeah, anyway, in the middle of the Parker Industries era of Spider-Man, we got a little story called The Clone Conspiracy. This is the latest addition to the Spider-Man clone saga, and
the Clone Saga Part 3.
Like, which of you have read this? I think have you both read it? Okay, so you've both read Clone Conspiracy.
I've read enough of it and heard by word of mouth working knowledge. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so basically you got Ben Reilly, who was like, you know, the one redeeming aspect of the 90s Clone Saga. He was the one character who people consistently liked. He died at the end of the Clone Saga, and then they decide to finally bring him back, but as one of the crappiest supervillains ever. They basically make him evil.
Well,
they give him the he wants to carry out like the Jackal's plot of killing everyone on Earth and replacing them with a clone. They brought back that plot point, but they gave it to Ben, the one people wanted as a good guy.
Yeah.
So
and the best part of that, by the way, one of the other reasons I got it to loop back here for a second, one of the reasons I got into Spider-Verse was because I was told that there was going to be a tie-in with like the Scarlet Spiders.
Yeah, there was.
I read all 3 issues of that, and you know what the reward was for finishing it? I know you know.
Ben Reilly
dies again. He at least dies much better this time, and it's an alternate universe version of him. But like,
you were my brother, Ben.
It was so shit. It's like, oh yay, I got to sit through 3 issues of this that were actually really good, and then you just killed the one guy I was interested in. Yeah, it's like watching The Last Jedi, only worse.
And the thing about like turning Ben into a villain, there isn't even a good reason for it. Like the reason he turns evil is because he was tortured in a lab for a bit, and then somehow.
Well, dude, he was killed like 27 times and recloned. I mean, that would drive anybody a little crazy.
That's Doomsday's plot, though.
Okay, I'm not saying it's particularly original. I'm just saying I could understand. That being said, I don't think after being killed and forced to remember every death 27 times, you're going to be anywhere near evil mastermind level of coherent.
But I mean, when you get used to it after the first few times.
How the hell do you get used to it?
He has spider powers.
That doesn't mean you're used to death.
Yeah, that doesn't remotely answer that question at all.
Well, look,
and don't you dare say it's magic. We don't have to explain it.
Okay, but point is, he becomes a shitty supervillain. He wants to kill everyone on Earth and replace them with clones. And then he decides to, like, you know, clone everyone who's ever died in a Spider-Man story. He has, like, his own little community populated with people who have died in Spider-Man. Basically clones everyone. And I don't know if they touch on this more in some of the tie-ins. But in the story itself, they don't really do much with this premise, okay?
No.
They got some scenes with, like, Peter and Gwen. But aside from that, the story is it mostly becomes like another generic end of the world story where the supervillain's gonna just wipe out humanity, and they gotta stop him. That's pretty much
like the one it tries to do that is with Silk, but that was just so bland and boring. I didn't even care. Because
Yeah.
the Prowler, he didn't have any dead relatives. So it's just meaning, hey, if you don't do this, I'll expose your family to the fact that you work for Spider-Man and that you were a
Okay.
villain.
Right. I will give them credit for one good moment that I do remember, and I know I'm praising Dan Slott, shoot me later, but the bit where Ben brings up to Peter about bringing back Uncle Ben,
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't bring it back if you
because
know
he would
would
tell you this
disapprove.
was wrong. Boom! It's like,
Yeah, that
wow,
part was
real
fine.
Peter escaped for 2 seconds.
Yeah, that part was fine. I actually did like that moment,
Yeah.
but it wasn't enough to save the rest of
Oh
the.
no, not remotely. I mean, it was a glimmer of hope right before, you get smacked in the head again for being stupid for having optimism. That's actually reading Spider-Man in a nutshell, isn't it, at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. So depressing.
But yeah, then
Also,
and
isn't like Mockingbird his girlfriend now?
Yep.
yes. Oh god, I
So
was about to get to Mockingbird. I think Mockingbird is worse than Carly.
no,
No, she is.
no,
She is.
no, because you know what? Bobby Morose was at least at one point a good character. Carly Cooper has never been good. I mean, I hate to do it as kind of a like hanging on past successes of a character, but Mockingbird at one point was at least a good character.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like Carly, but at least she never made Peter look like turned him into a loser, because like you got Peter, he's like sleeping on Mockingbird's couch. She's just constantly emasculating him at every turn. It was more painful to read.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, like Carly Cooper is more pointless. Like Mockingbird, what she's become is painful to look at.
Yeah,
Just seeing like Peter with this chick basically being turned into Mockingbird's bitch, that was more agonizing than Carly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm. So
I
yeah,
don't know. Maybe it's also just because the point that Carly came in, the wounds were still fresh from one more day, but like, no, she's still not that good even without that.
Yeah, I mean it's subjective. It's subjective. You can make a case for either. Who's Peter's first girlfriend?
Let's just be honest. We know MJ is the best one for Peter, and there you go.
Yep. And the only reason anyone would disagree with that is if they hated redheads. It's the only reason.
Which, as we know, that's not an option.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but yeah, the Onslaught's run is funny. He goes from basically turning Peter into a Tony ripoff, and then immediately after he goes in the exact opposite direction. He turns him into the biggest loser he's ever been. I mean, I know, like Peter. I know, yeah. Peter Parker is not exactly known for attracting good fortune, but like those issues right after his company dissolved, even for Spider-Man standards, that was some pathetic shit. And it's not even funny in a sadistic. It's not even funny in a mean-spirited way. It's just painful.
Yeah, it's like, what is I'm trying to remember the line from Trial of Peter Parker, but Carnage says something to the effect of like, Parker's a psychic magnet for tragedy. It's like, yeah. It's like he's like almost the physical embodiment of Murphy's Law at this point. It's like everything that can't go wrong does.
I mean, that's really the reason why it's called the Parker luck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, who is it who coined that? Was that Slott, or has it been around?
No, that's been around
forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Parker luck has always been a thing. I mean,
no, yeah, you're right. I think it was in Straczynski's run. I think, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's been since the beginning. I mean, it's Peter's whole inability to accept, that
anytime something good happens, something bad will come right around the corner.
Pretty much, yeah. His inability to learn from his mistakes and just, blaming his time as Spider-Man for all of his personal problems.
Yeah, I just meant the phrase itself, but I get it. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, but it's something an observation I made is like, the core problem with Dan Slott's Spider-Man stuff is that like, like historically, pretty much every Spider-Man writer in the past, they put Peter through some tough shit, but you're always meant to sympathize with him. Dan Slott, he thinks Peter's suffering is a joke. He doesn't want you to sympathize with this guy. Right. He wants you to laugh at his suffering, and that's why it just feels so mean-spirited and not even in a redeemable way. It just feels like
Ta-da!
Yeah,
The
it's just.
embodiment of the Parker look.
Oh shit! I remember that. Oy. First issue of him back in the mask. Let's strip him down to nothing but the mask. What?
My favorite is the Mommy, why is that naked man beating up that girl dressed as a panda? I don't know, son, but look away.
Shit like this never happens in Cleveland. Which actually, I think that's become a running joke in Doctor Strange.
Ugh.
It's like, yeah, I want to take a vacation somewhere nice and boring. Cleveland. Go to Cleveland.
Yeah, that issue,
And
the one
outside the
where he's
sanctum
fighting
is all hell's breaking loose. Let's go back to Cleveland. It's never boring there.
Yeah, that issue where he's fighting in his underwear, it feels like Dan Slott's fetish porn, and he just turned into a comic book strip.
Well,
a comic book strip.
You can almost understand it from a first outing thing, but the problem was he kept doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could understand that as kind of like a reintroduction of like the fun, jokey, occasional mishap Peter, but like he kept doing it, and it was just really dumb.
Yeah,
it's like again, it's like a total lack of understanding of the character. You know, it's like comedy is not, you know, redo a joke over and over and over and over again.
No, that's insanity.
That would be insanity.
He doesn't see Peter as a tragic figure. He sees him as a walking punchline.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is not even close to what Peter is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, he falls into that same gap that Ryan Johnson does, to bring it back to that movie You Made Me Remember Why, God. He just either doesn't get or violently hates Peter Parker with such a passion that he wants to see him destroyed. But not to the point where he'll ever finish him off, because then he would get rid of his little play puppet. I mean, I'll give Ryan Johnson credit. He did kill Luke Skywalker. He had the balls to do that. It was stupid and made no sense, but never mind. But yeah, Dan Slott hates Spider-Man, but not to the point where he'd be willing to do that.
And I have this theory that the only reason... You can go. You can finish.
Well, it's just even Superior. It's like, oh, he's dead, and you're still kicking his corpse around even now, jackass.
Yeah, I have a theory that like the only reason Slott took over Spider-Man was basically just because he's Marvel's flagship character, and if he wrote him for long enough, kept the sales
have any job he wanted
fairly decent, then he'd have basically enough power and influence in the industry to get any project he wanted, because anything would be a step down from Spider-Man. Like his next two books are Iron Man and then Fantastic Four. He gets to write both of thth, despite the fact that the majority of the comics community, comic fans.
Okay, hold on. Stop.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Check the roof side and view mirrors. He's writing Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Yes.
God damn it.
Yep, the Fantastic Four, they've been in limbo for 4 years.
It's been 4 years ever since Secret War 3, which they can say it's not Secret War 3, but it is Secret War 3. I don't care. So the guy you choose to bring them back,
you don't even get the guy that's writing the actual Fantastic Four book now that's actually doing a good job.
Oh, God dang it.
You get the guy that wrote Silver Surfer and didn't even promote Silver Surfer.
Didn't he have like 4 tweets in all?
Yes.
During his entire era? I think Diversity in Comics said something about that. I was like, It's like, yeah, of course not.
Yeah.
And then creators wonder why comics get canceled. If nobody knows you're doing anything, if you don't care enough to promote it, what you gonna do?
That's kind of what I was saying about like, and so it's like, yeah, he wrote their flagship character for what was like 7 years. I don't care enough to do the math. It's like the sales weren't great, but they didn't get too bad. It's always stayed in the top 20 just because it's Spider-Man. For no
about
other
7-8 years, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, for no other reason than it was Spider-Man. The sales stayed at least somewhat decent. So it's like now because he just handled their flagship character for so long, he can basically demand any assignment he wants. That's probably how he got Fantastic Four. If he wanted to move over to X-Men, he could easily take over their flagship X-Men book, Avengers, anything. He just has the power to demand any book he wants. And that's the only reason he wanted Spider-Man in the first place. He just put us through 7 years of suffering to advance his own career. That's why.
And then Give Spider-Man to the Nazi guy.
Yeah, Richard
Which, by the
Spencer.
way-
Oh wait, Nick Spencer. No, not Richard.
And
Big
they can
difference.
deny it all they want. They can go out of their way to say it wasn't intentional. No, I'm not convinced that man doesn't have a Nazi fetish. And frankly, I remember a couple years ago, Frank Miller had talked about wanting to do Captain America. I should not be jonesing for that.
No,
'Cause
because
we
here's
are
the
at
point.
the- we
Because
are-
at least Frank. Did you see the scripts of when Frank Miller was actually plotting to do a Nick Fury comic?
I cannot wait. Go ahead.
No, he was plotting to do a Nick Fury comic, and it actually looked really good because it's pretty much like Miller when he was doing Daredevil and Batman Year One, but in
Right.
the style of Nick Fury, and he was also plotting of having Captain America in it and kind of showing the like the weird relationship between between Fury and Cap, and it's like, okay, that looks really good.
Yeah.
This makes me feel like, what the fuck am I even looking at?
Which that was the weird thing that kills me with Nick, like the stuff they did with what was it, Original Sin? It's like, okay, he killed Uatu. What? Uatu wouldn't tell him an answer. The guy who's famous for not giving answers and only interfering in really dire times.
No, it wasn't because of an answer. It was because of Watu was like, "Hey, you're killing you're killing way too many things around the universe to protect humanity. You need to stop." And then Fury kills him off because of that. Because it's like, I don't want you to tell anyone.
And then he ends up, bouncing around as the Unseen with the cloak and the chains thing, and showing up in Unworthy Thor, which was 4 issues of bullshit.
You didn't like Unworthy Thor?
Huh?
You didn't like Unworthy Thor?
Dude, when you said all that, I liked it up until the end. When they says, "Oh, I'm not worthy," Thor, pick up the damn hammer. I will jump into this comic and kick your ass. Pick that hammer up.
Yeah, but then Beta Ray Bill says like the whole thing of like, you don't need that hammer. You're Thor Odysseus. Your achievements.
Yeah, but Marvel won't let him be called Thor, so. It's just like you sit me through 4 issues of this shit, and then the last one, oh no, I don't deserve to be Thor. Pick up the hammer. Pick it up. You fought Thanos. You fought the Grandmaster. Pick up the fucking hammer. It's just bullshit. It's just sorry. It was just. I'm upset that I wasted my money, and I usually like stuff that Jason Aaron does. That's what kills me. Like if you haven't read it, do Doctor Strange: Last Days of Magic. It's fucking awesome. I did. It's awesome. I mean, that's honestly some of the best stuff that's ever been written for Strange.
Oh yeah, I did read that. Yeah, I like Aaron's Thor run. Sorry, Doctor Strange. I meant. Yeah, I thought Doctor Strange was fine.
Oh, because Strange's whole thing has always been he's mystical, but all the stuff that he fights is way stronger than he is, so he has to outthink them.
Yeah, I think it was decent.
Like the movie did that perfectly.
Yeah, I think it was a decent, like a surreal mysticism comic, just throwing weird shit at the reader. I thought it was decent, and it's like his first Thor run to the God Killer arc. That was fine too. If I remember correctly, it's been a while. So Aaron, he has talent. He is a writer. I mean, I don't agree with all his decisions, but I can at least respect him to some extent.
Yes.
So,
absolutely. He is. I mean, but he's done some really good work, which kind of irritates me when he pulls out shit like Unworthy Thor, which is just like. You basically jerked me off for 4 issues and then said, "Oh no conclusion for you." Oh, by the way, there's a new Ultimate Thor because I care.
Well, to be fair, that was before Unworthy Thor came out. For me, it's the main story of, like I said, because I love Unworthy Thor. I thought it was a big, great conclusion to the whole source. To the whole source thing, it's like, no, you don't need the weapon to define you. You are. You are what defines you, which is something that's like been relevant between Thor and Beta Ray Bill all this time. Then the really stupid thing was when Nick Spencer's like, "Oh, I joined Hydra so I could get a chance of picking up the hammer again."
Oh, jeez.
That's entirely Thor's motivation in Secret Empire.
Where does Marvel find these people?
Oh, they're in like the 7th circle of hell, just past the screaming people, stick to pikes, you'll find them.
It's in the same place that Bryan Singer has all those underage sex parties.
Oh, whoa, hey now. Careful, we don't want to get sued. Like we haven't said a bunch of libelous stuff already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you're looking for Nick Spencer, just, look in Germany in 1939. You'll find him.
Yeah.
Sorry, not going to let it go. He's not going to apologize. I'm not going to let it go. Sorry. Unless Cap is saying Hail Hydra, ironically, those words should never come out of his mouth.
Yeah. And he's the next Spider-Man writer. What are your expectations for Nick Spencer's Spider-Man run? Is that even worth asking? Why did I bother asking that?
Ooh,
incredibly politicized down to the point that even both people from both sides are going to be angry.
One More Day Part 3.
Misuse of villains down to the point that he's going to be able to beat them incredibly quickly, even down to the point that he shouldn't.
Right.
It's going to.
And I joked about it on Twitter, but I honestly think we're going to get the wonderful reveal that Peter shot Uncle Ben and started the Sinister Six and has been masterminding them from behind the scenes for years.
Yeah, no, it's going to turn out that he's had a split personality the whole time. He shot Uncle Ben, framed the burglar. He killed Gwen, framed Osborn.
Makes perfect sense.
No. He's the one who invented like the mind control technology that Hobgoblin uses to turn everyone else into a Hobgoblin. He used it to trick Norman into thinking he had killed Gwen, but it was him the whole time.
Right.
He also encouraged her to cheat on him with Norman Osborn, so he was responsible since. Basically, Peter Parker was responsible for every bad thing that ever happened.
And then Gwen and Norman's children will come back as Peter's sidekicks, and let's see what else. Let's see.
There's gonna show weird things that Peter might have been sexually attracted to Aunt May.
No. Even better. He's going to make a clone of Miles Warren, but it's a female. So he's gonna make a female clone of Miles Warren. That's going to be his new love interest.
No. He's gonna try and say, "Hey, Miles, are you doing the same thing later?" I just want
to let you all know, I'm gonna need a shower after this because I feel very dirty. And not in a fun way.
Cold water, buddy.
No, they don't make water hot enough. Must wash away the sin. The sin's past. All the sins.
Yeah. Anyway, we've been going on for a while. Over 2 hours now. So if you guys got any.
No. Wait, I just realized. He's going to have sex with Mockingbird and then send the videotape send the video to Hawkeye saying, "Hey, this is how I fuck your ex-wife, buddy."
Oh, Jesus.
How much of this is actually outside the realm of possibility?
None of it.
Considering the last thing I said, because that is actually something he did do in a book once.
Wait, what now?
Superior Foes of Spider-Man.
Well, who did it?
It was a villain called the Bull that he was fucking. That's the Owl did. The Owl made him. Hold on, I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, Jesus. Well, let's just. I mean, if we're going towards wrapping up, I mean,
yeah,
Spider-Man. I mean, to me, he is, and I know he's this way to a lot of people, but he's, the
everyman.
I guess he's the everyman, but he's also the, for lack of a better word, like the determinator, something like that. But he's, very big on the willpower and pushing through. He's the embodiment of the belief that no matter what life throws at you, whether it's supervillains that clone you, crazy scientists with metal tentacles, or really, 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 really shitty, untalented hack writers, that you can push through it. And even as he has gone down in quality over the years, to me, that is what Spider-Man will always be. You can throw the shittiness of things like One More Day or Superior or Sins Past on him, but in the end, they, no matter how hard they try, no matter how much Dan Slott hates Spider-Man, they can never destroy that. what he is at his heart.
But
yeah, like Spider-Man. The thing is, it's like he's not the best at anything. He's not the most powerful superhero. He's not the smartest. He's not exceptionally good at anything. But by God, he tries.
Yes.
He's just constantly trying to make the most of what he has based on what he's got. So it's like
He has what he has, and he tries to use it responsibly.
yes,
he's the best. He's the best outcome out of the worst situations.
yes.
That's beautiful, Guess. There you go.
And here's the superior foes thing I told you.
Why do you do
The
this?
bull ride.
Oh,
So I took it to our little setup. I turned on the TV to show him the danger he
Wait,
made
is May
himself
blonde?
instead. No, that's not May. That's This is just like some random villain. This is just some random criminals.
okay.
That, like I said, that the owl was like, I sent him the bull to try and interrogate the guy's ex-wife. But however, turns out the bull is actually a smooth talker. So the video is
Bull
this is
ride.
a bull ride.
We could put this in the comic, but we're not going to. I'm just saying, if they could have,
Once again, it's
Tony banging Natasha in Ultimates 2.
Oh wait, that's another joke. Are we going to see? Are we going to see any implication of Mary Jane, being like, I kind of like Tony now. I've been with him for a long time.
God, I hope not.
Because remember, Slott is writing Tony in his book, and that there's a little bit of a joke of saying on whether or not we're going to see Mary Jane in that.
Well, isn't MJ supposed to be in the Spider-Man books again? Because
Yeah.
they're promising all new love interest, but she's going to show up in that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
You're
so
right.
they can yeah, Lord, I can't even talk now. Ship tease more bullshit that's never going to happen.
They already shown that in the first few issues it's him trying to go out with Mary Jane again.
Of course.
Yes, they always contain teases that they're going to get back together, but they don't actually put them back together.
No, never can do that because, unless your name is Reed Richards or Sue Richards, having a stable relationship in Marvel is just, terrible.
Yeah, they're just going to keep teasing it for the rest of our lives, but not actually do anything with it.
Well, at least we have the movie. Never mind.
At least we had like Kristen Dunst's mediocre Mary Jane, and then
let's not go there.
Yeah, let's not go there. But anyway,
it's like Raimi films, man, bad shit, bad shit.
But anyway, I think we've been going on for a while. We've had a good long stream, and I think it's time to wrap up. So thanks for watching, everyone, and be sure to subscribe. Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.